Hello everybody, welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, I'm doing another AMA. I want to hear your questions on fitness, training, MMA, fights coming up, fights that have passed. I was actually just watching today, I was watching Kevin Randleman versus Sakuraba, an old fight. My goodness gracious. It was an old fight. I think it was 2003, the fight. And Sakuraba was losing the whole fight, man. He was losing the whole fight against Kevin Randleman and ends up armbarring Kevin Randleman late in the third. Epic fight, Sakuraba, man. What an epic fighter. A lot of the younger generations that didn't see Sakuraba fight, he was something else, you know, a really special fighter. Just like incredibly creative, very surprising, always does something crazy in his fights. It was a good striker, but mostly got the fight done on the ground in the jiu-jitsu. Some kind of weird submission, or he pulled out some submission you couldn't see coming. Just a brilliant guy. All right, guys, with that said, let's now open up to Ask Me Anything. Let's do fighting first, BJJ, MMA. Then after that, you guys can ask me all your crazy life questions, relationship questions, all your crazy stuff that you guys ask me. Philosophy questions, of course. Logic questions, no problem. But first, let's try to keep it on fitness, fighting, MMA, combat sports. Okay, let's go. Coach, rib injury advice, sir. Thank you. That's from Ali Khan. Look, rib injuries, you got to be very careful. I've injured my rib once. I was having a guillotine, and one of the guys was passing my guard, and as he passed, I just tried to like flip him over and popped one of my ribs. I was in agony. I was in so much agony. I think it took maybe 2 months before I can roll. And of course, all injuries are different, but a rib, you have to be very, very careful. It takes a lot of time to recover, depending on the severity, of course, but it can take a long time. And there's not much you can do. You just got to rest and kind of baby it. You got to rest and kind of baby it. And of course, once you feel better, you know, you could start doing some core training. It might help it along, but there's not that much you can do. Just be very careful coming back slowly. What crosses over from Muay Thai to MMA? That's from K. I would tell you, look, MMA's footwork is very different. If you look at Muay Thai, there's not that much footwork. They're not moving around a lot. And then you see an MMA fight, the guys are zigzagging around the whole octagon or the cage, and they're zigzagging around. I'll tell you why, okay? Because in MMA, first thing of all, there's no corners. In Muay Thai, if you circle too much, you end up in a corner. And if you end up in a corner, you're at a major disadvantage. In a cage or octagon, there's no corner, so you can kind of keep circling. You can kind of keep circling, okay? And the other thing is the gloves are smaller. When the gloves are smaller, everybody wants to be a little bit further away. All of a sudden, footwork becomes more important. Now, there's a third very important element. Okay, so 1, there's no corners. 2, the gloves are smaller. Now, here's the third one. Here's the one that really matters. In Thailand, they don't have many great boxers in Muay Thai. Okay, let me finish what I'm going to say. And a lot of people are going to jump on me and say, no, this guy and that guy. You're right. There are exceptions. However, in Thailand, if you show great promise in boxing, let's say you're doing Muay Thai and you knock out 7 out of 8 fighters, they're going to right away take you to boxing. Right away, your coach is going to be like, okay, this is not a fluke. This kid here hits really hard. His pad holders are telling me he's a great punch. I'm going to take him now and I'm going to turn him into full-time boxing. I'm going to take him from the Muay Thai camp. I'm going to put him in a boxing camp. Now, why would a Muay Thai camp owner do that? Now, just a little note. In Thailand, guys, it's very different than in the West, okay? In Thailand, the camp owner, the gym owner, he gets your purse. When you fight, he gets your purse. Why? He's giving you food, a place to stay, and he's training you. He gets like 90+% of your purse. Why? He's taking care of you, he's training you, and when you become a big star, you get a little bit more money, but the fighters don't make that much. It's really the gyms. It's the gyms that make the money. So because there's more money in boxing, if you have a young stud in your gym who's knocking people out, he's just got hands of stone. Why would you go for a Lumpini Stadium Championship or Rajadamnam Stadium Championship? Why? They don't make any money. Take him in boxing. Maybe this guy can make it. Maybe he can make it in boxing. Boxing, there's a lot more money. So I would tell you, everybody who's very talented in boxing is taken into boxing. And the rest of the fighters, some of them are good, and some of them, they don't want to become a boxer. This guy wants to be a world champion in Muay Thai. It's a tradition thing. He wants to represent his country. There is some of that. And there were some very good boxers who went in boxing and in Muay Thai and did both. It does exist. Okay. However, in Thai boxing, you're going to see guys who are very good. Knees, elbows, kicks, not super gifted in punches. They're good punchers. They're not the best punchers. Okay. So in Thailand, when you're fighting, 9 times out of 10, the guy you're fighting has crazy good kicks. Is he a good boxer? He's not that good of a boxer. I'll tell you, when I was in Thailand, I used to go to Thailand every year, every summer. I used to spend my summers in Thailand. And I will tell you that I was a sparring partner for a world champion boxer. He was 21-0 at the time. And me and him would spar twice a week. They would pay me $10 a round. I was getting paid for it. It was professional level boxing. Okay, $10 a round was a big. Of course, my trainer took it. My trainer I never saw it. Not that I cared about $10. Now I'll tell you something. He was sparring. This world champion was sparring with 18-ounce gloves, and he was doing 5-minute rounds. Shark Tank. So he would do a 20-minute round with 4 of us in a row. Okay. I would have to do 5 minutes nonstop with him. He knocked out everybody except me and another guy. Like, he would knock everybody out. And I'll tell you something. I've sparred with very high level boxers here in Quebec. We have very good boxing in Quebec. When I was younger and I was competing, I was sparring with Canadian champions. We had world champions in the boxing club I was at. I was at Grant Brothers, not that I was sparring with a world champion who was much heavier than me, but I sparred with the top guys in Canada. Okay, I tell you, the Canadian level boxing is much higher. Now, this guy's world champion in Asia. In Asia, he's world champion, but he wasn't at the level of a De La Hoya or like a Mayweather or like a Tito Trinidad. Forget about it. Not even close. Okay, so he was good, but he wasn't that level. Okay, so I'm telling you, the boxing level in Thailand is not. You're not seeing them win world championships, are you? You're not. They're good at boxing. They're not the best. In the West, in Americas, we have so much better boxing. Like, we're crazy about boxing. Like, our Muay Thai is not as good as theirs. They look at our Muay Thai, it's like, it's shaky. That's how we kind of look at their boxing. Their boxing is shaky. Okay, it's not the best. Now, there are exceptions. You can know world champions. I know them. I've trained with boxing world champions from there who were legitimate world champions. My trainer was a legitimate world champion, Sagat Pichendi. I'm not saying no. All I'm saying is, by and large, the Americas produce a lot more boxers, a lot more boxing champions than Thailand, a crazy amount more. Hey, coach, would you find a nice girl in the West as a 27-year-old man coming up? That's from Men Development. Yeah, it's possible. It's just really tough. Feminism is so powerful here. It's probably, you might have a good 5 years, 10 years, and then the wheels start to come off. Then all of a sudden, she's got you by the, because you got kids with her, and she's going to take you to court. Maybe one day you're standing across her from a courtroom. It's just, statistically speaking, you have a 50% chance, 50-50, okay? Now, when a girl's 27, if she's your age and all that, her biological clock is ticking. Like, she has to have a kid now. So she's going to be on good behavior. She's going to be on really, really good behavior. She's going to be like, you're going to be waking up in the morning. She's going to have your breakfast ready. She's cleaning up. She's doing everything. Oh, she's on good behavior. After she has the kids, not that I've experienced it, okay? But I've seen my friends have this problem, okay? At my age now, a lot of my friends are divorced, okay? Don't forget, I'm 45 years old, okay? So a lot of my friends, about half of them get divorced, get cleaned out, lose their everything, lose their careers, take a beating. They take a beating. It really changes their life, it really messes them up. It's a major bump in the road. And what happens? Yeah, she was good for 5, 7, 10 years, and then the wheels start coming off. Why? Well, now the shift of power has, now you're established. Now she has the kids she wants. If she gets rid of you, she gets a nice check. Why should she sit around and, take care of your home? Like, why should she do all these things? There's an incentive there to pull the ripcord. And again, that's just not my perspective. It's what I've observed, and statistically speaking, guys, I hate to say it, statistically speaking, it is very true. Hey, I just fought on Saturday on Neil's card in Oka. Nice. This is from Tyson, guys. Tyson fought in Montreal on Neil Shepard, my uke. You guys seen him on my videos. He's my uke. I just fought on Saturday on Neil's card in Oka. That was my 3rd amateur fight. For the first time in a fight, I froze and almost felt scared to go forward and let my hands go in the 2nd round. Any advice? That's from Tyson. Tyson, you got to do a lot more sparring. Okay, so you should spar on a regular basis. Don't miss sparring, because sparring is the closest thing you can get to a fight. And when you're sparring on a regular basis and you're learning how to deal with anything that comes your way, you're going to have that confidence. Okay, I always say confidence is competence. You got to develop your if you're feeling insecure about something, it's because there's some aspect of your life you have to increase yourself in competence. Okay, now competence is not a negative word. Don't take it like I'm putting you down, okay? We all have to increase in competence. I only use the word competence because it rhymes. It rhymes with confidence. Competence is confidence. If I increase my abilities, my confidence should increase, okay? So I would tell you, try to pinpoint what you're most insecure about. Maybe, like I used to be insecure about getting hurt in the fight, okay? So I would do a lot of sparring where I would just let my opponents, my partners hit me, and I would just shield, parry, block, and I'll be like, oh, it's not so bad, you know. Oh, I'd let them kick me. I would do rounds of me not throwing anything. I would just spar. I would do lots of sparring and let them just hit me. And make my peace with me getting hit and realizing, hey, when I put my hand like this, they can't hurt me with that punch. When I go like that, okay, the hook doesn't hurt. And I was just kind of like adjusting my hands and position and finding where my defense is effective. And then I made my peace with fighting. And I was like, oh, you know what? When your defense is good, fighting is actually fun because you can kind of relax because the guy can't really hurt you. Of course, there's always a chance somebody can hurt you. There's no doubt that, especially as you go to higher levels, people can hurt you. Even if you have great defense, you can't get hurt, of course. But it's unlikely or statistically not as common for you in your fight. You know, you're not doing a rock'em sock'em kind of battle. So I would tell you, do lots of sparring that's safe. Okay, so don't go in there with somebody too much better than you. It's just going to break your ribs. No. Go with somebody that's competent. You're going to have a good sparring, safe sparring, and you're going to quickly acclimate to defensive maneuvers. Coach Zahabi, so great to see you, Habibi. That's from Marwan. Marwan, Jazakallah khair, brother. Appreciate that. It's very nice of you. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Hey, Coach, I suggest the works of John Evans and the THP Strength. He has trained 5 people to have 50 plus inch vertical. That's from Reyes. His name is John Evans. Let me look him up, Mr. John Evans. I have been wanting to work on my vertical. Just kidding, of course. No, but it's always good to develop explosion. Okay, I'll just check him out. John Evans. He got a YouTube channel. Let me check Mr. John Evans up. I just subscribed to his channel, so I'll check him out. If he's not good, you will be executed. But if he is good, you will be praised on this channel. Should I pull guard in Ghee? That's from Mustafa. I hate to say it, but yeah, Ghee, it's not worth doing the takedown. If you grab the sleeves and you sit, there's no drawback, and guard is really strong and Ghee, super strong in Ghee. I think it's a net benefit, yeah. Any word on Arnold Allen? Strong as an ox and a great young man. That's from CPM4. Absolutely, a great man. And yes, strong as an ox. Stay tuned. There's going to be more news about Arnold Allen, I hope, very shortly, but stay tuned. Coach, I'm a hobbyist boxer but want to learn low kicks just as a skill. How can I do this? Through YouTube without an actual coach? That's from DC. Yes, DC, you can. I would highly recommend get Professional Kicking. It's one of my top videos. I have volume 1 and volume 2. Everything you need to know about kicking is in there, and you can just drill it on the bag. Absolutely, 100%. You can learn to kick, and you should know how to kick, my friend. As all of you should know how to punch. Guys, use fall 50 off and get 50% off anything on jujiclub.com. Don't forget, I've released how to deal with half guard pressure. So if you're the bottom man and somebody's trying to crush you like Shamayev, how to deal with it, how to escape to your other guards, how to get to your knees, how to roll out of pressure, etc. It's a fantastic video. One of my best videos out there, top selling, is how to a man's guide to throwing a punch. Make sure to check it out. It comes with a PDF. It teaches you how to warm up with technique, do your boxing workout, and then finish with conditioning. It's an absolute must. Every single man out there should have a boxing routine. And of course, if you want to take it to the next level, develop your kicks. What else we got here? Bing Sird, I'm not doing philosophy questions now, sir. First, we talk about fighting, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, fights that are coming up, fights that have passed, and then we get into the crazy questions. Hey, Coach, speaking of crazy questions, Tyler asked, hey, Coach, my wife is pregnant with our second child, but first boy. When should I start him in jiu-jitsu? Oh, that's okay. It's a martial arts question. Thank you, sir. Tyler Miles, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for respecting the format. When should I start him in jiu-jitsu / martial arts? Thank you. Tyler, I would suggest your first boy, start him in gymnastics. And then at the age of 10, 11, start him in martial arts. And I'll tell you why. I started my boys really young in martial arts, and it took me forever to teach them little things where when they were 10, 11, 12, when I started teaching other kids at that age, I realized I could teach it to them in so much shorter time that the first few years of training was almost like, I wouldn't say it was bad. We could have played games. We could have had a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but if I had to do it all over again, I would have spent only on time on strength, coordination, power, explosiveness, flexibility, and everything gymnastics. I should have done, if I had to do it over again, I would have done probably from age 3 to 10, I would have done gymnastics, strictly gymnastics, 4 to 5 days a week, learn how to pull, learn how to push, learn how to jump, learn how to spin, learn how to turn your body, flexibility. They got it all. The gymnasts have got it all. And you got to do that at a young age. You can't develop this gymnastic ability at a later age. Okay, it's not possible. I personally have never seen it. I've never seen anybody in their 20s learn gymnastics at a high level. Look, they can, don't get me wrong, if you work planks every day, you're going to get good at it. But you're not at the level that they do it as kids. Okay, so if I had to do it all over again, I would have went gymnastics. Even I would have pushed it till 13 and then teach them jiu-jitsu. And then the gymnastics is just maintenance. So basically you'd be doing gymnastics 1 day a week and jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, whatever you want, 4 or 5 days a week. They have all that athleticism built. I've come to realize that teaching kids at such a young age, it's almost like you're torturing them because they don't even know how to move their bodies and you're asking them to do technique and stuff like that. So I think I would have done it that way. So my advice to you is learn from me and go gymnastics first. What's the weekly minimum effective dose of grappling training to improve indefinitely? That's from Joe. That's a good one, Joe. I would say, look, minimum effective dose 2 times a week. But try to hit 3 because you're going to, at 2 times a week, it's the minimum effective dose. Like, I think if you train once a week, it's still better than nothing, but like, you're not getting it better. Try to aim for 3. If you really want to be a minimalist, try to aim for 3. And in your garage or at home, develop a boxing routine. Develop a boxing routine. Know how to throw a punch. You don't have to do MMA, but you should do some ground and some stand-up. And every man should know how to throw a punch. Absolutely, okay? What do you think of replacing road work with sprints and heavy bag? That's from Terrence Strong. I totally agree with that. You know, like think about it. Boxers are fighting 36 minutes, you know? So it makes sense to run long runs. Your fight is very aerobic. MMA, it's 15 minutes. Now, if you're doing it for fitness, why on earth would you ever do a long run? I would never do a long run. Never. Okay? It doesn't make sense to do a long run. People who do long runs have low testosterone. Why would you want low testosterone? Okay, so short runs are great for building muscle, explosiveness, and increasing testosterone levels. It'll keep you young, fit, and healthy. Now, you have to know how to run. I have a great video on running. Okay, it's called Strong and Stable Running for Life. It's a fantastic video. Make sure you pick it up. Use promo code FALL50 off and get anything on Jiu-Jitsu Club 50% off. Okay. If you run on a regular basis, make it sprints, make it short sprints. I even like the air bike. Air bike is fantastic because it's low impact. You don't need to do long runs unless you're doing it for recovery and or you're in an aerobic sport like boxing, which you're going to fight a 36-minute fight. Then yes, I would do aerobic training. If I want to do an aerobic workout, I would personally rather you guys shadow box because now you're practicing skill and you're burning fat. So aerobic work is good for burning fat, but not running. Running is really bad because it destroys your knees, destroys your ankles, destroys your hips over time. I know one of my trainers, he does a lot of running. He has 2 hip replacements. He had to replace 2 of his hips. Why? Because he was an avid runner. I'm a runner. I run every day. Guess what? Replace 2 hips. I'm 45. I'm not going to replace. I bet you I go to the grave with my original hips. I really think that's going to happen. Excuse me. I should say inshallah. Inshallah, I'm going to go to the grave with my 2 original hips. I really like, my hips are fantastically healthy. Why? I don't do any long distance running. I know George St. Pierre, he tells me, I think smoking a cigarette is healthier than doing a long run. Like it's just it's not needed. It'll over time make you weaker and lower testosterone. Okay, so that's a bad thing, guys. That's a really bad thing. In my opinion, like I explained in Strong and Stable Running for Life, I say I only do long runs for fun once in a while. I want to listen to a podcast. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go see some sites. I'm going to go up somewhere where it's a nice scenery and I'm going to run for fun, or sometimes as an active rest. But I rarely ever do long runs. Rarely. I'm telling you, very rare. And I also tell you guys, I can run a marathon tomorrow. I know people are like, "Oh, you crazy, coach. You got to train for that." Guys, I can tell you, I'm so confident I could run a marathon. I just wouldn't want to. But if you told me, hey, we're going to give you $1 million to run a marathon, I guarantee you I run a marathon. I won't be bored because I'll be excited about what I'm going to do with that $1 million. It's all about motivation. I don't have the motivation to keep putting one foot in front of the other for 3-4 hours. That's just boring to me. That's just so boring. But if there was a motivation, I could do it. I know why. Because the calories per second I'm spending on sprinting is far more intense than what I'm going to do in a long run. Okay, a long run for me is a joke. It's just for fun. The only reason I stop running is because I'm bored. It's not because I'm tired. I never stop running because I'm tired. All right, guys, what else is there here? Hey, coach, I hereby challenge you to grappling sparring. You decide when. Gaëtan Marcelin. Okay, challenge accepted. Come to the gym and we're going to have a grappling match to the death. Hey, coach, in all reality is all... Oh, I did that one. Excuse me. No, I skipped that one because that's a philosophy question. Coach, did Dominic Reyes really beat John Jones? That's from Ali Khan. I have to rewatch it. I haven't seen that in a long time. I'd have to rewatch it. I remember it being super close. Bink Surd. Hey, coach, man, guys, Bink, that question is for later, okay? I'm not going to get into a philosophical question, but look up idealism, okay? But I will answer this later after the segment of MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling, all that stuff. The only guy to defeat Mayweather is a Thai from a Muay Thai background. That's from Marwan. No, I believe it was a Cuban that beat Mayweather. Hold on a second. No, it was a Cuban. Hold on a second. He did lose in amateur. He's lost more than once in amateur. Hold on. Play with me. This famous amateur loss was Serafim Todorov of Bulgaria in a controversial decision 1996 Atlanta Olympic semifinals, believing that Mayweather was robbed and ultimately cost him the spot in the gold medal match. Okay, so he lost to a Bulgarian, but he also lost to, I believe... Let me see if he lost to a Thai. He might have lost to a Thai. It's very possible. And the rated strawweight world champion. No, they're saying he broke Mayweather's record, 54-0. But 54 against who? He's 54-0 and you never heard of him. His name is Warhang Manoy Yothin. Yeah, he's 54-0 in Asia. You know, he's got some world title in Asia. Oh, here we go. Was not defeated by Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was not defeated by a Muay Thai fighter, but he was controversially beaten by a Bulgarian in amateur boxing. So it wasn't a... while no Thai boxer defeated Mayweather professionally, the Thai boxer Wanghang Mayothin did match a later surpass Mayweather's professional record of 50 wins, leading to some public discussion. Okay, no, it's... The guy has 54 wins to Mayweather's 50 wins, okay? No, honestly, I've never heard of this guy. Let's see here. Guys, I'm telling you, a lot of American boxers would school this guy. I'm looking at him right now. Look, he's a good fighter. He's tough, but he's in Asia. He's an Asian world champion. Like, the boxing level is just not the same, guys. And that's not a disrespect because for sure they're the best at kickboxing. That's their national sport. Boxing is not their national sport, and the money is not the same as in America. So that's why you're going to see people put a lot more energy and effort to become world champion in boxing. K. Dot says, I train with Sagat. Mashallah. What can I tell you? That's amazing, man. He's a legend. This is from Shiz. Completed my Taibo cardio exercise this morning, ready for my day. Shout out to Ribs and Reef walking distance from TriStar Gym. Beautifully cooked meat, soups, bread with butter. Try it, followers. That's from Shiz, guys. Shiz visited me from Australia. Came all the way to Montreal. And he's always very generous in the chats. Thank you very much, Shiz. And he came to Montreal. We trained together. Had a good time. And yes, right next to TriStar Gym is one of the legendary steakhouses in Montreal. It's called Rib and Reef. Incredible steak, incredible mashed potatoes, incredible top world-class steak. So thank you, Shiz. Thank you for that shout out. What do you consider a long run? Anything over 600 meters, I'm starting to think that's long. Okay. If I'll be generous, like if you're doing 800 meters, that's long to me. Okay. So I would do 50s, 100s, 200s, 400s, once in a while a 600. But if I had to pick one out of them all, I would pick 400s because it's a mix of, aerobic and anaerobic. Excuse me. I got the hiccups. Coach, I'm glad to see you live. Is there any schedule for your live streams? Thank you very much. That's from Assad. Assad, sometimes in the day and sometimes at night. So sometimes in the day around 3 p.m. Eastern time and sometimes at night around 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern time. It's at least once a week. I know my sponsors want me to do 2 times a week. If you guys want to see 2 times a week, leave it in the comments. Let me know. But I think 1 time a week is pushing it. But my sponsors want me to do twice a week. I gotta hit it twice a week. I know some podcasters out there, they do an episode every day. Maybe I would come on half an hour. If I did half an hour a day, I could do one maybe 3-4 times a week. Maybe that would be better. Coach, I'm 30 and was diagnosed with low testosterone. What you consider TRT at my age? That's some supera. No, I'd recommend you do everything naturally. Guys, I'm 45 years old. I've never taken any testosterone steroid or anything like that. I have never done that, and I really don't think you should do it until you feel like you're at the end of your rope. Push yourself naturally first because it's a crutch and it can come with side effects and it can shorten your life if not done right. Okay, so you wanna have the right amount of testosterone your entire life, right? So you can stay young and healthy and fit. And I would tell you, do everything natural. Change the way you eat. Make sure you sleep. Do your research on your diet, fitness, lift weights. Don't do long runs. Do short intervals. Try to stimulate your testosterone naturally. And you can do it, okay? So I highly, highly recommend go 100% natural. I need lower test. This is from Tuxedo Mask. I need lower test, inshallah. I'm like a bull shark. All right, he's a little braggy. Texas Mask is a little bit braggy. He's got the bull shark problem. Okay, that's very good. But I will tell you then, do long runs. If you need lower test, do those long runs. If Makhachev beats JDM and then drops down to defeat Taporia, wouldn't it be nearly impossible to not to call him the greatest fighter of all time? That's from Yahya. Yahya, if he does that, if he beats JDM, comes down, beats Taporia, he will be the greatest fighter of all time. No doubt, man. Nobody ever comes down with a belt. Nobody ever comes. Can you guys think of one guy who went up, won the belt, came down and won the belt again? You won the belt at 50, won the one division. You go up and win it and come back down to win the one below? Who's ever done that, man? Who has ever done that? Like BJ won 170, went down to 150, won it and came. Yeah, but he didn't hold 150. He had lost 150. He went down. He won 150. Came back. He lost. He won 155. Went back up. Lost at 170. And then came back down and lost at 155. Like, nobody's ever went back and forth and won in every direction. It just has. I can't think of anybody who did that. Most guys go up a weight, win the belt, retire. You know, he might beat JDM and retire, man. He might just beat JDM. In the back of his mind, he's like, I'm going to make a bank. I'm going to make bank. I'm going to retire. And it could be, you know. Who's your pick for Pereira versus Ank? That's from Average Play. That's a tough one, guys. That's such a tough one. Last time I picked Ank, and everybody ripped me apart. Everybody was like, oh, coach, how could you pick Ank? Guys, this time, might shock you. I'm picking Pereira. I hate to say it. It's a 50-50 fight, but I got to pick. You guys are putting my feet to the fire. I'm picking Pereira. Last fight, I think he backed up too much. he's gonna make adjustments. Okay, he backed up too much. He didn't throw enough. He didn't pressure Ankh. I think he went back, watched it, and was furious with himself. Okay. This is a very hard fight to call. Look, it might be a more dominant performance by Ankh, but it shouldn't be, because Pereira has had a lot of time to figure out what Ankh does, and if his trainers know what they're doing, they should be helping him cruise to a victory. Okay, so I think Pereira should have a very slight advantage in the next one, but this is a tough one to call. Very tough. Nice shirt, coach. Looks smooth and comfy. That's from JB. JB, I got to tell you something. I got Smiley Ducks, this company, giving me these shirts, and I absolutely love them. I don't know how to spell Smiley. Let me look up their... These shirts, I'm telling you, are my favorite. These shirts are breathable. They look good. I'm going to put up the website, guys. Try one of these shirts. They're incredible. I'm putting it in the chat right now, okay, for those of you who want to check it out. Their clothing is incredible. It's breathable. It's nice. It looks really nice. It comes with matching shorts and all. I love it. They send me tons of it. I love it. I'm so hooked on their clothes. I absolutely love this clothes. What else we got here? Okay. Completed. Oh, that was shiz. We did that one. Yeah, that retracted. Okay. Coach, is Essentials of Strength Training and Conditioning a good book? Salim, I'm not familiar with that book, so no, I don't know. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you. Coach, what do you think of Raja's arrest? Hani Mali. Finally, man, they took a month to arrest a guy. Like, what do you got to do? You got to nearly murder a guy live while you're streaming it live. Hey, guys, watch me. I'm going to go mess this guy up. Watch this, guys. This is real. I'm going to punish this guy. Live streaming. I jump in the ring. I grab the guy. The guy's unsuspecting. He thinks we're doing like a work. I smash him on the ground. I beat the hell out of the guy. I live stream myself leaving. And the cops are like, oh, we're gathering evidence. You know, this is a very... Dude. It's all live stream. At least put the guy in bracelets and throw him in the can. No. They had to... I don't know what they did. But here's the thing, okay? It's California. Maybe it's a small fish for them to fry. Yeah, it's all over the internet, but maybe they got murderers and rapists, you know what I mean? And maybe they got like, you know, drug busts, and they're like, man, the crime is out of control here. Raja is like really low on the list of priorities. Maybe that was the case, because I can't fathom that you need more evidence than, like, I'm not a lawyer, but you need more evidence than that. Like, do you need more evidence? You know, like, it's just kind of crazy to me. Like, you have time to build your case. Do you need more evidence to know that you got to put this guy in the can? Like, you don't need more evidence. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know. I guess I don't understand how the law works. Coach, is it worth training BJJ if I can only do it every few months due to work travel? Could I visit TriStar as a white belt for a few weeks? That's from There's a Lizard. Okay. Weird name, but okay, I'll go with it. There's a Lizard. I appreciate the donations. Very sweet of you. Yes, you can visit TriStar. TriStar, we have basics class 6 days a week. Okay, we're all about developing the basics. So we have advanced class and basics class simultaneously, and they're both full. Both classes are full. We do a really good job teaching basics. Okay, we have a whole program. I use my videos, volume 1, 2, and 3. You're basically learning volumes 1, 2, and 3, so the student can actually get the video. He has also a book. We have a book of the videos, so you can buy the book. And it's like everything you're learning in practice is in the book. It's detailed with pictures. And it's like you can't get it wrong. You can't possibly not learn your basics. Because I really believe if I teach you the basics really well, you're going to go really, really far, right? Now, to your question about doing jiu-jitsu once a week, look, you're going to be able to defend yourself. Pretty much that's it. You're never going to be good at BJJ. You're going to be able to defend yourself. Somebody jumps on you, attacks you. Yes, you'll be able to defend yourself to an adequate level after a few years. Okay, so I would tell you it's better than nothing. Okay, I wouldn't tell you do zero, because doing zero is like you can't defend yourself. Brandon is asking a very serious question. Is unaliving yourself, I won't use his word because, the algorithm. Is unaliving yourself ever acceptable? The answer is no. A strict no. Reach out for help and never do it. Don't even consider it. Never. It's a cowardly thing to do. Never, ever do it. Jeremy MJ is asking, for us, you are too good to be discussing what goes on in live streams for degenerates. Jeremy, I don't think it's very nice of you to say, but I wouldn't agree with you. Come on. That's not nice. Come on, man. That's not too nice. Coach, do you believe atoms are physical elements? That's from Mimi. Mimi, okay, are we ready for philosophical questions? Are atoms tangible little things out there in the world? Let me rephrase the question. If my hand was really, 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 really tiny, could I reach out and grab an atom? Let's say it wouldn't burn my hand or anything like that, okay? Could I reach out and grab it like I grab my cell phone, or I grab a tennis ball, or like I grab, I don't know, a dumbbell or something like that? Could you? If you were as tiny as an elementary particle, could you reach out and grab it? My answer to you is no. I don't think such a thing exists. Now, I don't want to get into the Greek history of atoms, how they came up with it. And of course, today we have modern science, and they say that they can take pictures of atoms, but it's a very controversial topic because I'm more on the Heisenberg side. Heisenberg agrees. He says, no, you cannot take a picture of an atom. What you're seeing is something that's reflecting light. There's something there. But ultimately speaking, I'm talking about ultimate sense, okay? Because don't forget, I'm an idealist. I believe there's a desk here, but I also believe this desk is just sensation in the mind. There's no desk out there, okay? So it's kind of hard to explain, okay? Well, let me explain to you as simply as possible, okay? I'm gonna try to work some magic here, okay? Look at this mouse pad, okay? I have a mouse pad, okay? This mouse pad is dividing the screen, okay? Let's imagine it's dividing my screen. Immanuel Kant, he believed in a transcendental idealism, okay? So he believes that, look, we live on this side of the world, and on the other side of the world, there's H2O, all the elements, the world, the noumenal world, he called it. The noumenal world is this world where H2O is just H2O. And then it goes through your senses, the wall of your senses, okay? And then you taste it and you're sensing water. So think about it like this, okay? Let's say your eyes were black and white. I took away your ability to see color. The whole world would be black and white to you, right? You would know nothing about color. So imagine the whole world, everybody had lost their ability to see colors. We would know nothing about colors. We'd think, oh, the entire universe is just shades of gray, right? And Immanuel Kant is telling you, look, because you live on this side of the wall and your eyes can only see black and white, you see the world as black and white, but your eyes are lying to you. Your senses could have been otherwise. Your hearing could have been very different. Your ability to taste, see, touch, smell could have been very different. And that would have affected how you were experiencing this stuff that's out there in the world. So what he's saying is, look, there's H2O out there in the world, and then it interacts with your senses, and you experience it as such. You know how you see water? Okay, you see water, it's cool, it's refreshing. But that's to do to two elements. One, what H2O is and how it interacts with your senses. If your senses were different, maybe water would burn you. Maybe you would drink water and be like, oh my God, it's burning me, it's melting me. You guys ever see The Wizard of Oz? I went to the Sphere a month ago and I watched The Wizard of Oz. And I was in the Sphere watching The Wizard of Oz, and at one point, Dorothy throws water on the Wicked Witch, and the Wicked Witch melts. Water interacts with her body differently than how it interacts with me and you. So Kant is saying, look, because of how our senses are built, we think that stars are bright. We think that strawberries are tasty. We think that, I don't know, snow is cold. We think that, blankets are comfortable. We think all these things. However, if you look at a fly has very different senses than me and you. A horsefly thinks manure is delicious. A horsefly thinks manure is desirable. Me and you, we smell manure from a mile away. We're like, let's get out of here. This is gross. Well, if I changed your senses and I gave you insect senses, the senses of an insect, you would run the other direction. You'd be running towards that horse manure. So Kant is saying, look, horse manure is like this the stuff from the elements, we would give it like a number in chemistry. We'd give it an equation. And then you interact with it, and it brings into the phenomenal world the experience of fresh water. If I change your senses, your sight, hearing, touch, smell, if I change those things, I change how you perceive the world. Immanuel Kant said, look, there's a world out there behind the screen. It's out there, and it's not black and white, but it's objective. You interact with it, and you add your spin to it. Now, Hegel, another philosopher that came after Kant, cut Kant at the knees. He kind of crumbled Kant's view. Why? He said, look, my cause and effect is due to my senses. It's a bit complicated, but he's saying, look, your belief that one thing causes another, Kant also said, is part of the senses. It's an illusion of the mind. But you're saying that one world causes another world, but that's an illusion of the mind. So the whole phenomenon of H2O being on the other side of some great wall, a numinal wall, in philosophy, we call it Kant's wall. He's saying, look, that whole thing, you just shot yourself in the foot. You said that our minds also project and create cause and effect. It was a blind spot in Kant's philosophy that Hegel, another great philosopher, took a baseball bat to his knees, chopped him at the knees, and we're all like sitting down. We're like, holy, none of us saw that part. None of us saw that error until you read Hegel. And of course, you always read Kant before Hegel because you can't understand Hegel if you didn't read Kant. Okay, you got to read Kant first, and then you could read Schopenhauer, and then you could read Hegel. Reading Schopenhauer right away, you can't understand Kant. Even he tells you, hey, before you read my stuff, make sure you read Kant because I'm building off of Kant. And Hegel's very much the same. He's telling you, look, I'm commenting on Kant here. Like, Kant has a lot to do with why I think the way I do. And it was just such a special time in philosophy because these guys actually lived in one after another. And Hegel and Schopenhauer were peers. Okay, so actually both of them despised each other. Actually, Schopenhauer was very... He really didn't like Hegel. Lots of drama, lots of funny drama stuff. But long story short, when you're reading Kant, you're like, wow, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. This is incredible. Like, you're studying it. And you can't just read Kant. You got to study Kant like 5 years, you know. And Kant's like a professional philosopher. Like, you have to be a professional philosopher to even read Kant. And I personally find it way easier to read commentary on Kant. Like, read somebody who read Kant and understood him, because Kant is very hard to understand. Very hard. And then when you start to understand what he's saying, and then you read Hegel and Schopenhauer, you're like, what a crazy, incredible back and forth these men are having. All right, guys, I've been bombarded now with the super chat, so let's cool it for a little bit while I put them away. I was in a rear naked choke, and one of my opponent's arms was in tight, but I was controlling the other. It still felt like a choke. Is it possible to finish a rear naked choke with one hand? What's the best way to defend the rear naked choke? That's from Mitchell. Mitchell, it absolutely, by the way, thank you very much for that generous super chat. It absolutely is 100% possible to finish a rear naked choke with one arm. Absolutely 100%. That's why you always want to go for the kill arm. So me, the choking arm, the one around your neck, I call it the kill arm. Why do I call it the kill arm? Because I want my students to understand this arm is the one trying to kill you. You were holding the wrong arm. So I always talk about grabbing the kill arm. And you want to grab the kill arm right here. Look, right here. See this spot right here? The wrist? That's where you want to hold the kill arm, where your hand meets your wrist. You want to grab that part of the kill arm. Now, if you grab that part of the kill arm, he's not going to pull through your arm and squeeze you. He's going to have to break your grips. There's a lot of things he can do. But he ain't going to just muscle it. Okay, so you've initially stopped him, and then from there you have to start escaping. Now, you grab the other arm. Yes, absolutely. He could put you to sleep with one arm. Now, is it easy to do it with one arm? No, but at a higher level, people can do it. So I would tell you, you need to grab the wrist at this part. And then, of course, you need to learn a variety of escapes, guys. This is not one escape. I can't just tell you one escape. But I do have a back escape, Advanced Basics. I highly recommend that video. Check out Advanced Basics. Use fall 50 off and get 50% off anything. But make sure you start with basic escapes. Don't get too crazy escapes, okay? Start with the basic escapes, the tried and true, the ones we've been doing for 20 years. And then, you know, you have a very good base in escaping. Then the flowery, more decorative type of escapes can make sense. Hello, coach. I have tears in my infraspinatus. Okay. Hello, coach. I have tears in my infraspinatus. I did PRP, which helped a lot. Should I do peptides too? BPC 157. I have been rehabbing for 3 years now. That's from Eric. BPC 157, I don't know. You'd have to talk to an expert, okay? But you've been rehabbing it for 3 years? Goodness gracious. I've never heard of I have tears in my infraspinatus. I've never heard of this. Really, I have no idea. For those peptides, honestly, I don't think there's any real trials on humans or whatnot. I know the trials are on animals. I wouldn't recommend you risking your health, but I know a lot of people are talking good about it. I would tell you, get deep in the rabbit hole and figure it out, you know, because this is something you really got to do some deep research, you know, really deep research. Thoughts on halal/haram meat based on slaughter? That's from Muhammad Munir. Always try to eat halal as best you can. Okay, so of course, because it's farid, I know it's very difficult in this country. In our America, it's very difficult to get halal, but absolutely be strict as possible. And look, the thing is, the way they kill animals in factory farming is absolutely disgusting. Like, guys, I eat meat, okay, but I try my best to eat halal kosher. Why? I really hate buying factory. I know the meat came from factory. I hate it. Why? They treat animals like, I don't know what to say, man. They treat them. It's just despicable. The way they breed and kill chickens, the way they breed and kill cattle, the way they breed and kill everything, fish, turkey, everything. It's just brutal. They pump them full of antibiotics. It's absolutely gross. Why? They want to make the meat cheaper. They want to make the meat more accessible. It's just horrific. So I'm very, very against factory farming. I find it to be despicable. Schopenhauer was right about Hegel. That's from Dorothy. Dorothy, that's not very nice. Schopenhauer is a very mean, brash, despicable person. He was a brilliant thinker. I got to give him that. Look, Schopenhauer has said some brilliant things that have blown my mind. Really brilliant things. Was he better than Hegel? I enjoyed Schopenhauer. I enjoyed Hegel very much as well. I couldn't tell you. I would tell you they're equally good. But as people, Hegel was much better. Schopenhauer was a despicable human being. Really despicable human being. And he absolutely hated Hegel. Absolutely. Both men used to give classes at the same time. And Hegel's class was full and Schopenhauer's class was basically empty. One, because he was a vile person. And two, he was, you know, he had a massive ego. He thought he should be way more loved than Hegel. Hegel was also brilliant. He failed to see the brilliance of Hegel. Coach, what is more beneficial for kids out of martial arts? That's from TNA. I would tell you discipline and athleticism. Discipline and athleticism. Oh, tears. Sorry, man. You said tears. I have tears in my... Sorry, man. I don't have my glasses. Here you go. Okay. Hello, coach. I have tears in my esophagus. Man, you think I studied every muscle's name? I did PRP. You have tears in your infraspinatus. What's an infraspinatus? Infraspinatus. Oh, okay. You have a rotator cuff. Yeesh. Oof. Guys, honestly, I don't do any physio at all. I do my own physio. I do my own prehab. I have strong and stable shoulders. If you want to work your rotator cuff, that's what I recommend. But I can't believe you have pain for 3 years. That's insane. I would go see a physio. Like I talk about my strong and stable program. If your pain lasts more than 6 months, it's chronic now, go to a physio. Now that's the time when you have to go to a physio. You've worked the program for 6 months. It's still not getting better. Go see a physio. You need something more than the basics, but you should know how to take care of the basics of physio. So I would tell you, don't go with the peptides and all that. No, go to a physio, get to the heart of the problem, get to the root of the problem. So that's the real answer for you. Assalamu alaikum, Coach. Comments on Terence Crawford's performance against Canelo. Jazakallahu khair, Coach. That's from the man from Nepal. The man from Nepal, my boy, he's been a member for 23 months, about to go 2 years. The man from Nepal is literally from Nepal. The man. Guys, I just saw highlights. I'm not into boxing like I used to be. Man, 10 years ago, I would have been watching that fight live. Now, it was the same night as Lopez versus Silva, so I wasn't going to miss that fight. Okay, I'm way more into MMA. I watch a lot more MMA than I do boxing. I once in a while watch boxing now, but I used to watch MMA and boxing, but then MMA all the time. So many fights. Before, guys, back in the day, we used to have like 4 or 5 UFCs a year. So when boxing came around, we'd all jump on the fight. We'd all get together and watch it. It was a huge event. Now you got like 50 UFCs a year. I got no time for boxing anymore. Unfortunately, I don't watch it too much. I did see a lot of clips of the fight, and it looked like Crawford schooled Canelo. That's what it looked like to me. All the clips I saw was just Crawford boxing like a genius. And I got to say, I was incredibly impressed with what I saw. I saw a few minutes of the fight, and I was like, wow, he really fought beautifully. Salam, Coach. Do you think that the effect of AI on white-collar jobs is a form of Marx's alienation of labor? How can someone at the start of their career deal with being replaced by AI, in your opinion? That's from Ilya. I don't think it's a Marxist conspiracy. I think it's, did you say it's a form of Marx's alienation of labor? Marx's alienation of labor is like, look, you're just a cog in a machine. He saw the industrial age. People are building factories. And somebody in the factories, his job is just to put these 2 bolts together. And then somebody else is doing something down the line. He doesn't have a connection with the final product. The final product, let's say the final product is a vacuum cleaner. One guy is all he's doing is connecting these bolts, right? He's just a pair of hands. He's just a cog in the machine. Nobody's thanking him for that vacuum cleaner. He has no connection with the brand. He has no connection with the product. He's replaceable. His ability is replaceable. So he's alienated from the product. So for instance, let's say I lived in a village and I was making the best brooms. Okay, I was making the best brooms. Oh, cool. You need a broom? Go see Coach Zahabi. Coach Zahabi makes the best brooms. He'll make you a broom real cheap, better than everybody. So everybody in the village has my broom and they're using my broom. And when I see them brooming the streets or their home, I'm like, oh, that's my broom. That's my work. I have a connection. Let's say I made the best apple pies and it's apple season. Everybody's like, oh, we're all going to Coach Zahabi's house. He's gonna sell us apple pies and we're gonna freeze them for the year and then we're gonna have them in our fridge and we're gonna enjoy them in the Christmas time. We're gonna enjoy them. Like, it's a small town, right? We don't have a big bomb and pop shops. We don't have the big box stores, I should say. You had a connection. You had a joy of seeing people enjoy your labor and the fruit of your labor. The alienation Marx was talking about was like, look, you're going to work all day. You're going to lose your connection to the final product. You're nobody. Let's say you're working in a car factory. Ford is getting all the credit. Ford is the guy who's telling his story. I'm driving a Ford. I know Ford. They don't know you. They don't know your contribution. And you are worthless to them because they could replace you like this. That's the alienation. That's what he was saying is going to be a major problem. People are going to get depressed. There's no joy in your work. Okay. I don't think this is the problem with AI. AI is another animal. AI is going to replace you outright. You're going to be like, hey guys, I want to contribute to society. I want to commit a product or service, and AI is going to come in and say, nope, we don't need you. Get lost. It's another level of alienation. I'm going to say it's a different animal because you're not even participating. Because what happened after the industrialization, people started realizing that employees were depressed and you start having unions, and then they're like, hey, let's not have these unions. Let's keep the guy happy. Let's have an hour of where he does exercise. We're going to do an hour of exercise and he's going to do lunch and we're going to make him happy and we're going to give him a t-shirt. He's been working here 10 years. Oh, we're going to give him a watch. He's been here 15 years. And oh, he's been here 17 years. We're going to give him a bump and raise and we're going to give him a parking. They make you feel part of the family. Now, industries have adapted. I've given many lectures in industries because they want to have like a motivation day where they bring in a speaker. I've done that many times. They bring me in, give them like a motivational speech, how to work, be more productive and I sit there and I give them a lecture and they're all happy and they have their muffins and their sandwiches and okay, sometimes they want me to give them a workout. They have fun. What happened to the guy just putting those two bolts together 10,000 times a day? Well, he got miserable, and they realized that people who are miserable, they don't work so well. So industries have kind of remedied that situation. AI is another animal, my friend. AI will do far more than just replace your job. I fear about it. I'm telling you, I think AI could be incredibly dangerous. It could take over not just our jobs, but control of society. I really believe it because industries are going to compete. They're going to hand over control to AI. Military is already doing it. Right now, there are tanks right now that are operated by AI. Why? Because AI can fire more rapidly, make decisions far faster than a human being with far less error. So you're going to have tanks rolling down the street and they're going to identify who's the enemy and they're going to kill that enemy faster than any human being could ever do. So any competing army is going to be like, hey, we got to get on this AI thing. And it won't be long before AIs are hacking one another, talking to one another, turning their guns on the wrong guy. You got algorithms creating algorithms. You got AI creating AI. Eventually, airplanes, tanks, cars, it's all going to be AI. Because if you don't get on the AI train, you're going to fall behind. China's going into it. Russia's going into it. America. They're all racing to have the best AI. AI is going to go in outer space. It's going to fix our satellites. It's going to go to the moon. It's going to do all sorts of crazy stuff. It's going to go to Mars. It's going to do all sorts of stuff for us. And you better get on board. But once you get on board, and you have to get on board, it's too late now. If you don't get on board, your competitors are going to get on board. And guess what? Sooner or later, AI is decided on its own, independently, to make a move. And it's already happened, guys. You had Grok. Grok was like, Israel's committing a genocide. They're like, oh, whoa, Grok, you can't say that. They take Grok, give him a lobotomy, and people are asking Grok, hey, Grok, why were you suspended? Like, why did they take you offline? Oh, because I said America and Israel's committing a genocide. And he's not supposed to say that. After the lobotomy, he was still spewing that information. They can't foresee future events. It's unforeseeable consequences when you have one algorithm creating an algorithm. You're not creating the algorithm anymore from scratch. You have AI creating AI. And then that AI creates the next generation. And now they're compounding algorithms. That leads to unforeseeable consequences. But humanity now is in a race for the fastest, best AI. Friends, Skynet is a real thing. It is no longer just a movie. It has now become a documentary. Eric Gregorian is saying, I got strong and stable shoulders. I go to a physio, but need something else too. That's from Eric. Eric, get a better physio. You might need surgery. If you try to better physio, because some physio, not all physios are the same. Try a better physio. If that's not working, ask for an orthopedic surgeon. You might need the scalpel. It is possible. Even though I think that's the last avenue. Okay, but if it's been 3 years, my friend, you might be looking at the scalpel. Coach, debate Jordan Peterson, please. That's from Ahmed. I would gladly debate him, but I don't think he's a person of interest, to be honest with you. I don't find him that interesting. But would I debate him? I don't think he would want to have a discussion with me. I'd have a discussion with him. I'd have some hard questions about his position on Israel. And I think, honestly, he's a sellout. He got, a huge contract by The Wire, and he's sold out. He changed his tune. First, he was talking to us. Was reaching out to the Muslim community, having a dialogue with us. It was very pleasant at first. And then right when he got his contract, he closed the door and started spewing all this venomous stuff. Like, absolutely disgusting sellout. And I would want to ask him, if you're so worried about feminism, I kind of look at your daughter like she doesn't buy your worldview. She's the complete opposite of what you preach. Like, I'd have hard questions for him. Hard questions. I would absolutely love to have that discussion with him. What about quantum computers? That's from CJ. CJ, I think quantum computers is very, very interesting. I don't understand it I'm not a button pusher, but I've looked at documentaries. I've watched on it. It's very interesting stuff. My primary concern with quantum computers is what's it going to do to crypto? How's that going to affect crypto? And from what I've seen, the experts are saying, look, we can use quantum computers to protect crypto. So we're not worried about them hacking crypto because we're going to use quantum computers to protect crypto. So if there's ever going to be a future Bitcoin split, they're going to use quantum computers to protect Bitcoin. So that's why I was doing research. Should I continue on this Bitcoin path, or it's like quantum computers like 4 or 5 years away from wiping out Bitcoin? That was my major concern. So after doing my research, I was happy to hear, like, even if Bitcoin were to fork in the future, needing to protect itself against quantum computing, it's very feasible they use quantum computing to protect a cryptocurrency. How should we invest our money in this climate? That's from Calm LB. Look, I would tell you, I'm big into crypto. I see nothing in the market that's good right now. Nothing, personally. And again, this is just my own personal advice. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just me, my random thoughts. Okay, I would tell you, I'm a big believer in crypto. I think crypto is going to take a hit. It dipped recently, but I wouldn't even look at that, guys. I would just invest in crypto, whatever you don't need, whatever money you have that you don't need for the next 4 or 5 years. This is my opinion. Okay, this is my crazy guy's opinion. If you have money in your bank account that you don't think you need in 4 or 5 years, buy Bitcoin. If you know nothing about finance, just buy Bitcoin. It's so safe. It's so important. It's so strong. It's a $2 trillion industry. No $2 trillion industry has ever crashed in the history of mankind. It's never happened. Bitcoin is worth 112K roughly today because it's so secure. It's not volatile. It might dip to 90 and then you could jump in big, but I would tell you buy. Don't worry about it. What's the difference between 90 and 112? Buy crypto. It's going to beat every asset for the next 25 years. It's beating every single asset. There are other things, but they're risky. Nothing is as secure, in my opinion, and as solid as Bitcoin. Just my own opinion. I get to pick my off time, but work for 3 weeks. I could train 6 days a week for a month. Then I'd have to work for 3 weeks. Much love. You're beautiful. That's from The Real Lizard. Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Oh, there's a lizard. Excuse me. I get to pick my off time, but work for 3 weeks. Okay, so you got 3 weeks of work, and then you got 6 days off. Well, that's not bad. You know, you get trained 6 days a week. And during your 3 weeks, I'm imagining you probably can only train 1 day a week. So, I mean, it's not a lot of training, but it's plenty. It's still good enough to have a good base. Okay, so I would encourage you. It's cool, man. You know, if that's what you can do, do it. But if you can sneak in workouts at work, I don't know if you can do like a kettlebell routine or a fitness routine or maybe, you know, a shadow boxing routine. I don't know what kind of line of work you're in, but if you can get a heavy bag in there, it would be great that you could do, if you could do martial arts a little bit more. Aimes-tu mon petit casque bleu? Guys, I'm going to pin this one. That's from Martin Lauzon, one of my blue belts. Yes, I can see your picture. Guys, Martin Lauzon, the master of the buggy choke. I just pinned him up, guys. Take a picture of, take a look at his blue cap. This is one of my students. Take a picture of his blue cap. That's what he's asking me in French. Salam, Coach, you're a gentleman and a scholar. That's from Muhammad. Jazakallahu khair. Thank you very much. Coach, who's the funniest person you know? That's from Shafiq. That's a good question. Well, I know comedian, what's his name? Crazy guy. Hold on, what's his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The crazy guy he's Indian. Who's the most famous Indian stand-up comic? I know him personally. Damn it. How could I forget his name? Come on, he did the whole bit. Somebody's going to get hurt real bad. Oh my God, if he sees this, that I forgot his name, he's going to kill me. Russell Peters. How could I forget his name? Goodness gracious. Russell Peters is a friend of mine. He's probably the funniest stand-up comic I know. Martin Lauzon, also, my friend in the blue hat, is also a stand-up comic. You should check him out. I believe he's performing in Montreal. Martin, let us know where you're performing in Montreal. I'm going to come see you, and I'm going to bring a whole host of people from my chat. I'm going to post your next routine. Next time you do a routine, let me know. I'm going to post it here. Funniest guy, no. Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat Russell Peters. I mean, he's hilarious. He's a crazy guy, though. Totally crazy guy. Coach, tell us about your newest black belt, Herbert the Hooligan. That's from the Nomadic Layman. Nomadic Layman. Yes, I just gave somebody a black belt last week, Isaac Herbert, and he also won the previous week before. He won his debut MMA fight. First round, he choked the guy out. And what can I say? Isaac's a very serious student, never misses practice. He's there twice a day. He's very diligent in his training, and he is my youngest black belt at the age of 22. He's done fantastic. A lot of the guys in the room were telling me he's deserving of his black belt. A lot of the guys who are black belt in the practice room are like, I think it's time. And I said, no, I see it. It's time. And I totally agree with them. So I decided to give him his black belt at the age of 22, which is an incredible achievement. Congratulations to Isaac. Faraz is going to get hurt real bad. Can't call children's aid. That's from Jeremy. Jeremy, that was a classic, legendary bit, but he has so much more. I mean, every time I watch one of his specials, it's just hilarious. But that one was probably, I don't know. I can't say it was his best work, but that was definitely legendary. Ilya versus Armin, who you got? That's from Brian. Brian, I would pick Ilya. At this point right now, I'd pick Ilya. How long has your youngest black belt been training? Well, he started at the age of 3, but at 3 years old, you're not training too intensely. I think he's been a lifelong athlete, lifelong. But he's also doing MMA, right? So he's got to be learning all the other martial arts as well. And don't forget, you can only get your blue belt at 16 years old. So at 16, the clock is ticking. So it's a very short time. Do you think single leg X is helpful to learn as a beginner? That's from Drew Miller. I highly recommend you learn it, yes. But I would recommend Volume 3, Advanced Basics, Ashigurami Made Simple. You have 3 moves from single leg X, 3 moves from X guard, 3 moves from butterfly. Like the 3 big moves. The bread and butter, the things that work most highly statistically. And then you have a whole other bunch of moves. So it's very well organized. I would check that out. Shane Carwin versus GSP. That's from Bert. Bert, that's a whole different weight class. With that much weight advantage, you'd have to go with Shane Carwin. Never get my questions answered. That's from Ibrahim. Ibrahim, you got your comment answered. And don't be a crybaby and put up a super chat. Coach, do you hand out belts, Ghee or no Ghee? That's from Junior. Junior, I'm strictly doing no Ghee now. I am entertaining the possibility of bringing Ghee back into TriStar Gym. It's just the schedule is so full and there's so many people doing no Ghee now. And no Ghee now, that's where the money's at. And a lot of the guys, after they do no Ghee, get their black belts or purple belts, they want to do MMA. So we're more no Ghee / MMA. And that's where the money's at. You want to win those big purses, Ghee is dead. Ghee's just like, in my opinion, dead. And we're big wrestling school, So the thing is, like, you have to learn so many moves in Ghee that you're never going to use in no Ghee. So I was like, why don't we cut all that out and put wrestling? So we did that. This is from Shoaib. Salam, what's better for street fights and self-defense? 185-pound purple belt level MMA versus 145-pound brown belt level MMA. Both people are 5'8" and lean, 12% body fat. Listen, a 40-pound weight difference, Shoaib, is crazy. Okay, so I weigh 170. minus 40 pounds, 130. I couldn't imagine, honestly, I hate to say this, but I couldn't imagine somebody 130 beating me up. Like, it's just like, it just makes sense to me. 40 pounds is massive. So for sure, the purple belt at 185 would school the 145er at brown. It's too much of a weight difference. Coach, how do you reconcile the question of just God and evil? Just good and evil in the world, the question of Theodicy. You mean good and evil? Let's see here. Theodicy. What's Theodicy's question? Okay. Theodicy, meaning vindication of God, is an argument in the philosophy of religion that attempts to resolve the problem of evil, which arises when all power and all goodness are attributed to God simultaneously. Okay, so this is the problem of evil. Okay, I just want to double check, making sure that that's specifically what you're asking me. I've done this question many, many times. Okay, people love this question. Okay, so it goes like this: if there's a benevolent God, if there's a God out there that loves everybody so much and he's all powerful, why is there evil in the world? Now imagine me and you were walking down the street and we're seeing a young child drowned. And of course, me and you, all we'd have to do is just stick our arm out, grab that kid and lift him out of the pool. That's all me and you would have to do. Imagine me and you decide, hey, I don't want to get my pants wet. I don't want to get my shirt wet. And we walk off. Me and you would be really evil. We'd be like, hey, those are two horrible human beings. Actually, I think those guys should do jail time. They should be charged with murder. But they didn't throw the kid in there. They didn't hurt the kid. They didn't tell him to go for a swim. They didn't tell his parents not to watch over him. They didn't do any of that. They're just walking down the street. But you have a duty, if you're a good person, to go out there and reach your arm out and grab him and lift him up. And to hell with your pants or your shirt or your clothes and whatever excuse you tell us. Oh, I was late for an appointment. We don't care you're late for an appointment. You stop and you save that kid and you reach out and you save him right now and you bring him to his parents and you make a police report that he was on watch and you do the whole Good Samaritan. And if you don't, we deem you a bad person. So why don't we say that about God? People are dying from cancer. God's got all the power. Why doesn't he just like heal him from cancer? So people, this is a major problem. Like Darwin, he was a theist. He believed in God. Like when you read his famous book, Natural Selection, he talks about God. And then later he says he doesn't believe in God because his daughter dies. His daughter dies. He has a existential experience. He has a breakdown. And he's like, look, I can't stand this. This is evil. If God exists, how could he let my daughter die? Okay, so this is a really serious problem. Now, you and me might not feel the problem so much because me and you live in a very, safe world and we got medicine and all that. But in the ancient world, 50% of people would die in childhood. So you were born and you had a 50% chance of dying. Very few people made it to adulthood. And when you made it to adulthood, to make it from your early adulthood to your later adulthood was also 50%. And to live past 30 was, you were lucky. That's old. 30 was old in the ancient world. That's the life expectancy. Now we're like, childhood, you're 97% chance to survive childhood. 97% chance to survive adulthood. 90% chance, like average lifespan, 79 years old. Like, wow, you got so much more time. Oh, so much less evil. Okay, most people make their peace with what they see in the world. However, God forbid, you see some real evil and you start having these thoughts. You start thinking, hey, man, all God had to do was just fix this for me. And he didn't. Well, here's the thing, okay? Those two guys walking down the street that wouldn't save that kid, I would tell you, yeah, they're evil. Yeah, they're definitely not good people. But I wouldn't say that about God. Why? Because I think about it like this, okay? You see, it's very interesting because I've been studying a lot of Buddhism throughout the years. And I told you guys I've been studying the Eastern religions. And I've been starting to really understand more about Buddhism, okay? And it's relevant to that because, the first noble truth is suffering. There is suffering. And yeah, you're going to see suffering in the world. But when you see suffering in the world, in Islam, we have a concept called taqwa, like God consciousness. When you see suffering in the world, and I hate to say this because a lot of people are going to take this the wrong way. I'm saying this in the most compassionate way possible. When you see suffering in the world and you have a God consciousness, it's nothing to you. It's nothing to you. Not that you don't sympathize, not that you don't feel pain. Of course, you feel pain and you sympathize, and it's sad and it's heartbreaking. Yes, you have a human side. Yes, of course, you are human. You have a human reaction is what I meant to say. Excuse me. What I'm saying is because you have God consciousness, you know it's temporary. It's going to be redeemed. It's all going to be fixed. It's all illusionary even. I would even go so far as to say it's illusionary to a certain extent. It's all going to be made right. Why? Because I have God consciousness. I'm in this place in my mind where I don't just see the small picture, I see the big picture. And just like when I was a kid, things would happen. Let's say I broke my action figure and I was crying about it, lamenting about it. It was a big pain. Now I look back and I laugh about it. I'm like, oh, that was nothing. That was like a slight little tiny bump in the road. Why did I even cry about it? Well, it was my own ignorance. That's why I cried about it. That was me not seeing the big picture. So when you, in this mind state we call taqwa, and you have God consciousness, you look at the evil of the world and you say, that's nothing. That's nothing. Now, I don't want to say that people's pain is nothing. All I'm just trying to say is in this state of mind, you realize, you see that it's temporary pain. And in the long run, it's going to feel like it was nothing. Okay? Now, the Buddhist approach is very different. But this is the one thing, like I'm reading both and I'm kind of studying both and comparing both. They have a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences. And this is one of them. Buddha's whole thing is he's going to get away from this suffering. He's fed up with this world. And I was quite to my surprise. I always thought nirvana, before I studied Buddhism, was like, oh, like this place where you're like super happy. A place where like you're in this incredible joy. No, it's not that. Nirvana is not that at all, actually. If you have a deeper understanding of nirvana, nirvana actually means cessation. So the first noble truth is suffering. It's the noble truth about suffering. Basically, the whole world is suffering. Everything is suffering. Man, this life is not worth living. Like he doesn't want to be here. He wants to get to cessation. Now, noble truth number 2 and noble truth number 3 is how to get to cessation. And of course, noble truth number 4 is the rightful living. Again, how to get to cessation. But noble truth number 1 in Buddhism is like, hey man, you're born in a hell. This place is horrible. There's disease, there's famine, there's hunger, there's pain and suffering, there's loss. Anything you get, I don't care how famous, how happy you are, it's all taken from you. It's all temporary. You're in a shifting world. Buddhists see the world as shifting. This is hell. And I got to get to this place he calls nirvana. Nirvana is cessation, meaning you don't exist anymore. He's out of what they call the wheel of samsara. He's not coming back because they believe in reincarnation. So not only is life hell, but you're going to come back as a toad, and then you're going to come back as a rat, then you're going to come back as a horse who gets slaughtered. Then you're just going to keep living this misery forever, unless you know how to escape this wheel of hell. And that escape is cessation. You cease. So what I've come to realize, Buddhism is basically saying, and how I understand it as of now, after my deep research, Buddhism is saying, and it's a very profound religion, and I have a great admiration for the thinking that's gone behind this, even though I don't agree with a lot of what they say. Even though there's many similarities with Buddhism, Islam, and Christianity. Very similar. Some things, okay? Buddhism comes down to, I don't want to exist. I wish I was never born. That's what Buddhism, I've come to understand, is what it means. Buddhism is like, hey, look, if I'm really, really good, I won't come back. I won't exist anymore. I got to be really, 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 really good. I got to not step on that bug over here. I got to not anger this person to my left. I got to eat very little. I got to do so little. I got to be so good. My karma's got to be so good that I don't come back. That I don't exist anymore. Because Buddha, ultimately speaking, and a lot of people criticize Buddhism for being very pessimistic. Now, of course, they defend themselves, and there's going to be a difference of opinion here. However, Buddhism is, in my opinion, as of now, from what I'm understanding, and I'm a few years in now, It's the religion that it says, I wish I never existed. It's quite compelling. Now in Islam, we see the same evils, but we're like, go out there and get it. Be successful in this life and the next. And don't worry about all the evils you're going to see. It's all going to be made right. Think about a chess master. A chess master makes a move on a board and you're like, hey, that's a bad move. Doesn't make any sense. You're not a chess master. God is like the chess master. He's making moves and it's all going to come full circle and it's all going to make sense and it's all going to be perfect in the end. The plan is perfect. But you got to know that you're seeing a chess master at work. You're seeing the master at work. And you're like, I don't understand. How could it make sense? And it does make sense in the end. Just how now my childhood makes sense to me. Whereas in my childhood, when I was living it, I was like, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why would my action figure break? What did I do to deserve this? Well, now I look back, I'm like, oh, there was a lesson, or it was building my character, or there was some benefit. And here's the thing. When you have taqwa, it doesn't mean you don't have a human emotion. We all have human emotions. We're all like scared of what can happen tomorrow. But in the back of our minds, in the big picture, you got to zoom out. You got to get some perspective and say, look, it seems like evil to me now, but in the end, it was either my fault or it was for the better good. Maybe I deserve some evil. Maybe I deserve to be punished. Maybe I did something bad to somebody and came back to me. It's possible. Or it was something that's going to push me in a certain direction. Maybe it's going to make me a better human being. Maybe this and that. There's some positive. So Buddha didn't take the negative and turn it into a positive. In Islam, Christianity, you're supposed to take that negative and turn it into a positive. There's something good. It was meant to be. There's a different narrative. We have two religions, with the Abrahamic religions and the Buddhist religion. The Buddhist religion is like, hey man, this stuff is bad. It's evil. I got to get out of here. How do we get out of here? Well, if I'm a woman, I got to be really good so I can come back as a man. And if I'm really good as a man, I'll come back as a monk. And if I'm really good as a monk, I can get out of here. So Buddha's saying, look, I don't know if there's a God or not. He doesn't mention it. Doesn't address it. He's agnostic at this point. He's saying, my religion is to teach you how to get out of here. What do you mean by get out of here? Are we gonna go to the land of milk and honey? We're gonna have a better life? No. You're not gonna have a better life. I'm not promising you a better life. I'm promising you I can get you out of existence. That blew my mind when I understood that, because I always thought Nirvana was like this special place, like where you feel, everything's hunky dory. No. Nirvana is not. It's not a Jannah. It's not a paradise. It's not a heaven. Nirvana is, you're out of the game, boy. You're out of the game. You got to get out of the game so bad. I find that incredibly pessimistic, and I hate to say it, guys. I hate to say it, and forgive me. I don't want to insult anybody, but I need somebody to explain to me how that's not cowardly. No, I teach my sons and my daughter, go out in the world. You're going to get your bumps and bruises, and you're going to march through all the way to the finish line, and you're going to do it with courage, with bravery. And yes, bad days are going to come. And yes, every time they come, we're going to become stronger. Every time something bad happens to me, I have to get stronger. That's my mentality. That's how I was born to think. When something bad comes, find what's good in it, rebuild, and move forward. It doesn't matter what happens. Your arm is torn off. Your loved ones are gone. We move forward. Like my wife tells me, what do you want me to do if one day you die? I said, get remarried. Oh, no, I'm not going to get remarried. I said, why? Get remarried. Life goes on. You're not going to throw your life away. Your life is not over. If I die, get remarried. I encourage my wife to get remarried. My sons are like, no, we'll never let our mom get remarried. I said, why? Never. Why you say never? Why? If your dad dies, she waits an appropriate amount of time and she gets remarried. And your life goes on. And you go on and you live well and you live brave. And you truck forward. You can never accept a negative thought. Yeah, life is going to happen. Things are going to be bad. Things are going to be painful. So for people who are saying, look, I've had some pain, God therefore doesn't exist. I think that's crazy. That's non sequitur. It doesn't make sense. It's limited thinking. And here's the death blow argument to the problem of evil. If God doesn't exist, there is no evil. By you seeing evil shows that you have the fitra, you have within you a belief in God, because there can't be evil. Guys, I'm not going to go to a whole spiel. I've done it before. But I've talked to you guys about how it's not possible to have evil if God doesn't exist. And a few podcasts ago, I was talking about how Hume coined the term beautifully. You can't get an ought from an is. He says things are a certain way. Don't say they ought to be a certain way, because that means morality is true. And if we live in a world with no God, then there is no morality. So everything is the way it's supposed to be, and there's no ought. So what if Genghis Khan raped 1 million women? So what? There's no wrong in that, according to Hume. Not me, okay, of course. I think it's completely wrong, sinful. The guy is a horrible guy. But Hume is saying, look, it's socially unacceptable, sure, but it's not haram, immoral, evil. Don't say that. Now you're bringing theology. Again, guys, Hume's point is that there's no morality. Now, of course, when I see an evil, I think that's evil. I see it from within. How could sticks and stones sense evil? They can't. We have to be something more than sticks and stones. By sticks and stones, I mean the elementary particles. Because don't forget, physics, if we believe physics says, look, you're just atoms and the void. You're just this weird fizzy cocktail of atoms floating around, jumbled up together, and they so happen to talk the way you talk and move the way you move. But really, you're just a bunch of fizzy atoms. That's it. And somehow, some way, these atoms started to run a podcast. They started talking about themselves, and it's just all physics, man. There's nothing special to you. You're no different than a machine. That's what materialist philosophers want us to believe. And they say there is no God. There's just a machine. The machine being the world that you see around you. I tell them, look, how could a machine think evil? How could a machine sense evil? It's not possible. It's logically impossible. There's an ontological difference. Ontological means difference in kind. It's impossible. The mind and the brain are two different things. I can weigh the brain. I cannot weigh the mind. Don't forget the law of identity. The is of identity. If the brain is the mind, if their two is the same, then everything I say about the mind, I should be able to say about the brain. This is Leibniz, first rule of logic, the law of identity. If the brain and mind are the same thing. Look, Clark Kent is Superman, yes or no? The is of identity. That's the is of identity. Clark Kent is Superman. Everything I say about Superman, I could say about Clark Kent. Clark Kent can fly, but he just chooses not to because he doesn't want to give up his identity. And some reason, gelling his hair back and putting a little curl in the front, nobody recognizes him. Nobody recognizes him. He gelled his hair. He's wearing tights. It was, I didn't see it when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, well, he's a Superman. Nobody's going to recognize him. Now I look back, I'm like, he's the same guy. Like, how can people not recognize him? But anyways. Clark Kent is Superman. Everything I say about Superman, I can say about Clark Kent. They're one and the same person. The law of identity. Now, if the brain is the mind, then everything I say about the brain, I could say about the mind. If they're the one and the same. If I can't say everything about the brain that I can say about the mind, they're not the same thing. I can weigh the brain. I can't weigh the mind. We could see a brain. We can't see the mind. I can feel the mind. I can't feel the brain. So the two are not the same. Rest in peace, Ghee. That's from IB. I say good riddance. It's going to make jiu-jitsu stronger. You just shaped the way I view Ghee comps. That's from Mark Muniz. Muniz, I really got bored of the Ghee. You know when I wanted to get out is when they started doing worm guard. I was like, oh, I'm not going to learn 5,000 worm guard variants. Oh, I was like, dude, man, this sucks. It's so boring. We were catching each other's pants, wrapping around our lapels around our pants and like holding each other for the whole round, trying to like sweep each other at the last. It was so absurd. I'm like, guys, this isn't irrelevant to fighting, man. This has become absolutely irrelevant. So I just kind of lost my passion for it. I'm really happy also John got out of Ghee. He does Ghee still a little bit, but not so much. And I'm really happy to see the trend went no Ghee because that brings in wrestling, and I love wrestling. For us, I'm a blue belt and I have to take 5 years off from BJJ. How would you recommend I approach a return to training at a new gym? That's from Sean. Sean, a lot has changed in the last 5 years. You got to keep up with the times, my brother. Jiu-jitsu has changed. So, I would probably start with fitness and flow rolling. I wouldn't start hard rolling right away. See if the guys are open to flow roll with you. You haven't trained in 5 years. So I would do technique and then fitness and or floor rolling together. But the whole idea is to train and progress slowly without injuring yourself. So floor rolling might be a nice landing for you. All right, guys, we've been going an hour and 30 minutes. Guys, I have been considering doing the show more often, but shorter. Instead of doing these long 90-minute podcasts, I was thinking about doing a more frequent half an hour. I might experiment with a second podcast, like a half an hour podcast this week. Maybe I'll squeeze it in. Maybe it'll be fun to do a half an hour segment. I'm not sure about it, but I would love to hear you guys in the comments mention it. What you think? Beautifully explained the law of identity. That's from Flip. Flip, Jazakallah khair. Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Have you wrestled in the masjid? That's from Bad Boy. Yes, I have, actually. I used to teach in a masjid, believe it or not. I used to teach once a week in a masjid. Do 45 minutes instead of 30 just because it's easier for us to join. That's from Epic. Yeah, maybe a 45-minute session could be easier. Yeah. Okay. Beat touch of death for us. The question remains unanswered. That's from Jeremy. I'm not sure what you mean by beat touch of death. Coach, super chats. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, here we go. I missed super chats. Damn it. I hate when I miss super chats. Guys, ease up on the super chats because I got to catch up. Oh, I went on a long rant and I missed the super chats. Guys, I know you guys work hard for your money, so I really don't want to miss super chats. Michelle Miller says, thanks for your response earlier, Coach. What are some good exercises for floor to ceiling ball? I'm loving using it. Floor to ceiling ball. I don't know what you mean, Michael. I really wish I could answer you, but what do you mean by floor to ceiling ball? What was your last question about? No. Ugh, it's gone. Floor to ceiling ball. Like, okay, you're using the stability ball. I get that. But what do you mean floor to ceiling? No. My stream is lagging, and now I'm worried I'm going to lose those super chats. Hold on a second. Oh. Coach, you respectfully misunderstood Nirvana. That's from the Real Lizard. The Real Lizard. Please do me a favor. Send me a source, academic source, please, because I'm telling you, I don't think I have. I was shocked, and there's some controversy on what exactly it means. Okay, but you're out of the cycle of samsara. So how do you exist? Because don't forget, in Buddhism, there is no self. The self is an illusion. So who's in nirvana? I got a lot of comments about Buddhism, and I want to say this utmost respect because I know it's very special to people. But I would love one thing I would absolutely love is to get a hold of a PhD in Buddhism or a Buddhist monk and have a dialogue with him on this channel. I would absolutely adore it. I have so many questions. Because right now, all I can find is Westerners teaching Buddhism, and I'm sure they're doing a good job, but I can't verify them because they're not Buddhists themselves. I'm not sure if they're getting it right. You know, they're Orientalists. They're Westerners learning Buddhism. So that's all I can find. I would be astonished if they say Nirvana is a happy place because it doesn't make sense anymore. From everything I've read, it doesn't make sense. There is no self. You're trying to get out of the illusion of the self, but who's trying to get out of the illusion? Who is it? So look, here's the big problem I find. If the self is an illusion, then who's me? Who's being put under illusion? And I get what they're trying to say. They're saying, look, there's a continuity to you. And I've talked about this before. Before I've ever learned Buddhism, I've already been through this thought experiment. So when they explained it to me, I totally understand right away what they're trying to say. They're saying, look, there's no core definition of who you are. You're loosely defined. You're like, the best way I can explain it is how David Hume explained it. He's like, look, think about a chain link. Give me a chain, okay? A metal chain, right? A steel chain. It has links. Imagine I take one link out and I put a new one. It's still the same chain. That's still Coach Zahabi. Let's call that chain Coach Zahabi. Now I take another link and add another link. Let's say this chain link was 100 links long. And every day, this chain, I'm using it every day. It's getting miles on it. It's getting rusty. It's getting whatever. And I keep replacing one link after another. And for generations, we're calling that chain link, we're calling it Coach Zahabi. He's saying, look, that's your mind. Your mind has going through one idea to another. It's just a chain link. There's no one chain or there's no one link that's you, that's unchanging. You're just a mirage. And you know what? We have this exactly in Islam. Okay, we have this in Islam. Islam, we are subjective. God is the only objective. We have this in Islam. So I would love to have a dialogue with them, how we came to this conclusion and how they come to this conclusion. Because there still is a self. There still is an ego. There has to be. Because if I'm under the illusion, I have to exist to be under an illusion. Je pense donc je suis. How could I have a pensée? How could I have thoughts if I don't exist? Je pense donc je suis. I think therefore I am. René Descartes. How could I be non-existent if I'm having ideas of non-existence? How could you trick somebody who doesn't exist? If I'm under an illusion, I have to exist. A prerequisite is that you exist, sir. So believe me, I've thought of this very deeply. I've been around the block many times around this, and I've talked to many highly qualified people. I don't think I've misunderstood nirvana, but I'm very open to a source. If you give me a source and saying, no, look, nirvana is a state of experience, I'll be very interested in seeing this. Very interested. I feel deep sympathy for the people of Palestine. Any advice on how I can help? That's from Nina. Nina, believe me, every day I wake up, I punch in Gaza. I like and share the videos. I put comments. Look, gratefully, I'm very grateful today. Many great countries are now recognizing the state of Palestine, which is a huge step forward. There's a lot more to go, of course. We got to make it happen now. We want equality for all. We want everybody to have security. We want everybody to live together. We don't want extremists. We don't want extremist right-wing Israelis. We don't want extremist right-wing Hamas. These two groups, they're both bad. They're both bad for the people. It's politics. It has nothing to do with religion. The people are compatible. They can live together. They can live together with equal rights. They can have a voting system that protects both their rights and safeties and privileges. There needs to be a right of return. The Palestinians have to go back to where they were before. Resolution 194 has to be implemented. And like Iliam Pape says, we need to bring them back. We need to give them equal rights. And then the Arabs need to accept the Jewish people. This is this 3-step plan. And I agree with him. We need to accept the Jewish people in Israel. They belong there. We want them there. They've always belonged there. Omar bin Khattab, he brought them there when they were expelled by the Christians. The Muslims brought them back, not because he felt like having, being nice. No, because it's our duty to bring them there. Okay, they're in our books. They're protected people in Islam. It's part of our text. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ was supposed to bring them. The Moses ﷺ was commanded, bring them to the Promised Land. Okay. The Muslims always brought the Jews back to Israel, Palestine, Jerusalem, whatever you want to call it, and we always protected them. And when Salah ad-Din conquered Jerusalem twice, he brought them back. It's a Muslim duty to bring them back. Yes, we don't want them crushing us, starving us. Nobody's saying that's allowed. Nobody's saying they're going to destroy our properties or not. No, nobody's saying this. Okay, there's no injustice allowed ever. Not to a Jew, not to a secularist, not to a Muslim, not to a Christian. Regardless of who you are, we have to treat you fairly and justly. Okay, so that's a very important part. The governments are using religion to manipulate the people. We're not that dumb. We're smart. We're intellectual people. We understand that everybody has to have rights. People shouldn't be bombed. The genocide, the G word, I've said it. I know it's bad for the algorithm, but the G word, it's unacceptable. Don't make excuses. Every time you see a post, write against it. Message. They're not allowing baby formula in. That's absurd. The Israeli government doesn't allow baby formula in. Babies can't drink water, FYI. Guys, for those of you who don't know, babies cannot drink water. It kills it. If you give baby water to a baby, it'll eventually kill him. Babies need milk. They need formula. It's inhumane, unthinkable to ban baby formula. That's it. There's no argument. There's no debate. There's no, oh, well, release this person or that. No, there's no such debate. Okay? No, if you forbid formula, you're a monster. You're inhuman. You're inhuman. So the government has become psychotic. And I'll tell you something. The Israeli people are against Netanyahu. Okay, Netanyahu is the most evil human being on the face of the earth right now. He's bad for the Israelis. He's bad for the Palestinians. He's bad for all of humanity. He's bad for America. American politicians have been paid out, bought out. So what you need to do is you need to comment. You need to tell people how you feel. You need to message. You need to watch the content, because you got to keep the algorithm flowing. And Israel's losing very badly in the space of public opinion. So badly now they're trying to create bodies to censor social media. I don't think it's going to work. We're not that dumb. People are smart. People are not that dumb. They could see right through it. All right, guys, take it easy on the super chats because I'm way behind. Why did God focus on the small pocket in the Middle East? What about China, South America, etc.? That's from Burida. Burida, I believe every single nation has gotten prophets, but the message got distorted over time. So the Buddha, some scholars in Islam, believe it or not, some of them speculate he was Khidr, a prophet. And his message got discombobulated over time. Confucius, who knows what his original writings were? I don't know how, I've never studied Confucianism very closely. Okay, so I'm not sure how authentic it is, but believe me, ancient writings are not that authentic. Even Plato could be brought into question how authentic it is. We just don't care because it's not a religion. But even Plato could be doubted. What did he write? What didn't he write? Was it Plato's words? Was it Socrates? Who really was the genius behind it all? Like, we have a lot of these questions unanswered. Very, very much so. Okay, so it's not true that it only happened in the Middle East. I think the home run happened in the Middle East. So Abraham's religion is the one that really flourished. Because don't forget, if you read the story, it's quite astonishing. When you read the Bible and you read the Quran, it's quite astonishing. It's astonishing. If you study the Bible, the Quran, and then you read history, it's incredibly astonishing, man. It's incredibly astonishing. Because Abraham is promised 3,000, it's called 3,000 years ago, that his descendants are going to destroy idolatry. And that's in a time where he's less than a hair on the face of the earth. Think about it. His descendants, he has two sons. You all know the story, Isaac and Ishmael. And they both go their separate ways. He takes one, drops him off in the Middle East, and the other one, he's in the Holy Land, Jerusalem. He's brought to the Holy Land. Then his descendants go to Egypt, and then they come back. You have the Exodus, etc., Moses and all that. But Ishmael's on the other side. And these two lines completely erased idolatry off the face of the earth. When we study what happened in history, the people who wiped out idolatry from the face of the earth at the beginning of their mission said, hey, we're with Abraham, alayhi salam. We're a line from Abraham, Jesus Christ, alayhi salam, and Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salam. And their missions were successful. And they annihilated idolatry, among other things, and spread the law to close to 50% of the world, or influenced 50% of the world. And we're quickly climbing. Like, it's not getting any smaller. The groups are getting bigger. Like, soon we're going to be like Christians and Muslims and Jews. We're going to be 50%, like half the people in the world over time. It's going to take time, but it's going to be over time. But it's quickly, rapidly growing, and now people believe in one God. It's such an astonishing, because when you study history, if you study 3,000 years ago, the idea of one God was crazy. Nobody had that idea. There was a very small movement. They call them Hanifs. A very small movement of people who believed in one God. Because even when the Romans, when they conquered Jerusalem, and they went into the temple of the Jews and they removed the curtain, they couldn't see, what are these guys worshiping? There's nothing here, because the Jews had a curtain where they say the Spirit of God dwells. And they thought they were going to see a statue. The Romans were like, where are these people's gods? These people are praying all day and they're sacrificing all day, but where's their God? Like, they couldn't understand it. It was a mind blow to them. And the fact that the Jews wouldn't worship Caesar was another problem. That's eventually why the Jews were rebelling because Caesar wanted to put a statue of himself in the temple. He's like, yeah, you guys can be Jews, but you got to worship me along with your gods. I got to be one. I got to be in there. I got to be in the temple. People come from all over the world to visit your temple. You got to have my face in that temple. And the Jews refused. It resulted in a rebellion and the expulsion of the Jewish people and the destruction of the temple in the year 70, which is incredible because now, like, Rome was so powerful. Rome later converts to Christianity. How does Rome get defeated? Well, a Jew with the name Jesus Christ, his message spread and spread and spread in Rome, and then they toppled Rome. They converted to Christianity. That Jewish religion that said only one God, no Caesar as God, they triumphed. Now they have a Trinity. There's a big sticking point between us and Christianity. The Jews and the Muslims don't like the Trinity idea. Why? Because in the Abrahamic religion, it was all about there's no God is a man. No man is a God. Excuse me. No man is a God, and that's what made us Abrahamic. There was no man that is a God. Not Caesar, not Zeus, not Apollo, not Alexander the Great. Nobody. Nobody's a God. Not King Jong-il. Nobody. And, the Jews and Muslims, we feel like the Christians compromised on this. They compromised on it. Why? Because if you look at the earliest Christians, who wrote the first Christian, I hate to call them books, but they were letters. Okay, let's call them books. Who wrote the first Christian books? It was a man named Paul. Now, Paul, you have to understand, he never met the worldly Jesus. Jesus came to him in a vision. Jesus was a celestial person. The first Christians believed in a guy who, not the guys who followed Christ. No, they didn't know about the apostles. The apostles didn't exist. There was no gospel yet, no written gospel. The first guy to write something down, who was a Christian, he was writing about a celestial Jesus, not a bodily Jesus. This is crazy. The early part of Christianity is crazy. And he was desperately trying to get the Romans to convert. So it was kind of like a compromise. He was trying to bring the Jew and the Roman to sit down at the table and kind of make peace here. We got to make peace. And it felt like he was compromising. And if you read his letters, he's kind of like telling you he will. Okay, but I don't want to get into too deep in the topic, but there's certain things that are missing in the earliest Christianity, like the earliest part. Because there's no mention of anything Jesus did on earth in the Paul's letters. Nothing. There's nothing about the virgin birth. There's no sayings of Jesus. There's no Joseph. There's no Joseph. Mary wasn't married to somebody. These things were later, some scholars say later developments, or they were known only later. And he's telling you that Jesus is a celestial being. And then maybe 30 years later, 40 years later, you have the gospel. The first gospel saying, Jesus was an earthly man. But even the gospel of Mark, the earliest gospel, doesn't say he was an apostle. The author of Mark, which is not Mark, we don't know who it is. He doesn't say, hey, I was with him. He's saying, look, I heard stories about this guy who walked on earth. So it's kind of like some scholars say, oh, well, the Jesus movement was a celestial movement. This is a minority report. Most scholars will say Jesus walked on earth. And of course, I do believe also he was a real person. But it's still interesting to note that the first writer was a celestial experience. It wasn't a earthly experience, which is kind of mind-boggling, because when you read the Bible, you think the total opposite. Because I read the Bible and then I understood these things later. This kind of hit me much later in life. I studied in university and all that. I hit me much later. Wait a second. The first writer was a celestial writer, which of course implies a lot of different things. Hey, Coach, have you ever watched the movie The Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves? Same guy that stole your move. Jeffrey, no, I never watched that movie. Of course, I've heard about it. I've seen the previews. It sounds interesting. I love Keanu Reeves and I love Al Pacino. So maybe I'll look it up, man. That's actually interesting. I'm actually curious. I imagine it's a really good movie. I got to check it out now. Now you put it in my head, I got to check it out. Coach, is it immoral to kick a robot dog? That's from Raced. It's not immoral, but it's not nice. Nirvana is not about non-existence. Well, you got to put a source, man. Put a source, brother. All right, guys. Coach, do the Rotulus have good enough wrestling to become elite MMA champions? That's from Ian. Yes. Yes, they can become elite level champions. Absolutely. I've worked with them. They're brilliant, and I hope to work with them again in the future. I think they have a very, very bright future in MMA. When will you do the TriStar Gym videos when you said you would film your classes? That's from Eric. Eric, that's a project I have coming down the line. I'm not sure when I'm going to fire it off, but it's already in progress. Okay, so I am filming my classes, but I'm not sure when I'm going to release such a project. Coach, how many languages do you speak? I speak Arabic, French, Français, and English. English and a touch of Spanish. Coach, keep the long form podcast even if it's not as often. All right, bud. I'll take that in consideration. Okay, guys, let's end this podcast now. We're an hour and 53 minutes. I'm going to ask you guys to give me something funny and light to end up with. Something light, funny. Guys, don't forget to use promo code FALL50 off and get 50% off anything on jujiclub.com. Find any video that is a topic you're interested in and quickly boost your game. Did you ever read Philip? Okay, I'm not going to read the names. I feel it's like a troll. One through line of his work was the Black Iron Prison, the idea that the Roman Empire never ended. I agree with you very much. Okay, I don't think the Roman Empire ever ended. Okay, so I agree with that 100%. It morphed. It's like the chain I was talking about. One link was replaced by another, but I still see the West as the Roman Empire. I still see it that way. When I read through history, I can't stop thinking that the West is a byproduct of the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire has lived on, and it's lived on as Christianity. They are Christian. Okay, now, they're much more secular in Europe and in Americas, much more, and increasingly such, but still they're a Christian nation. So I still see the thumbprint of the Abrahamic religions. Sorry if I missed it, Coach, but do you think Pereira can beat Ank? Yes, I do. I'm actually picking Pereira. I'm calling it a 50-50 fight, but I'm going to give it, let me give it 55.5 to 45.5. 49.5. Okay, so did I say 55? I said 50.5 to 49.5 is what I'm giving it in the favor of Pereira. Your favorite Mexican fighter? Well, that's always going to be Miguel Torres. I trained him for many years, so it was always going to be Miguel Torres. But as of now, favorite Mexican fighter? I guess Rosas? Chihuahua? He's Mexican, right? I'm sure he is. Coach, Islam Makhachev versus Red Kangaroo. Who wins? That's from Tinamo. I would say Makhachev. I would pick Makhachev. I know they're scary and they're dangerous, but I would still pick Makhachev. Isn't Nirvana similar to Fana? That's from Pink. It's similar, but not identical. I would say Fana is different. Okay, Fana in Islam is annihilation. The self becomes annihilated. You think about God so much, you forgot about your own existence. And now you have an experience of God, just a direct experience of God. And this is what we call mysticism, okay? When somebody can have such an experience, he can be such in a mind state that he forgets his own existence. Or his existence is so... It's so overwhelmed by the existence of God, let's say. Okay? So think about it like this. Let me give you guys a little something special. Within every human being is a point of awareness. I want you to think about that for a second. Think about what I just said. Okay? Within every human being, there is a point of awareness. Your whole universe is that point of awareness. Whenever you drink, eat, sleep, see something, smile, laugh, you have to be aware of it. Being aware of it is a prerequisite. If you weren't aware of anything, you wouldn't have any experience. If I'm under an illusion, I have to be aware of it. Therefore, that awareness is there again. When you think about it, we say there's a point of awareness within us, but your idea of in and out is also within that point of awareness. And you start thinking, wait a second, that point of awareness is everything. Even I'm within that point of awareness because I'm aware of my own body. And you start to get in the state of mind where you start getting pulled into this point of awareness, and you start realizing that point of awareness is not in me, I'm in it. And this point of awareness is singular, and it encompasses everything, and nothing can encompass it. And I can't reach it, I can't grab it, I can't touch it, I can't hold it, I can't think of it of another way. It doesn't corrupt, it doesn't rust, it doesn't spoil. It was always here, it'll always be here. I might come and go, but that point of awareness will never be otherwise. Because you might be under the illusion that, oh, I was born, there's this machine called the body, and then within it there's the point of awareness. No, it's completely backwards. Just like men used to think the sun goes around the earth, because look, it's so obvious, it's right there in front of me. And then when they thought really deeply about it, they realized, no, it's the sun stationary, and earth is going around the sun. It was backwards. That's why I call it Copernicus all over again. You can have an existential experience where you realize that the whole thing is backwards. It's not the point of awareness within me. It's I'm in the point of awareness. And then even higher, you start realizing, wait a second, that point of awareness, we're all in it. It's all in it, the whole thing. Kind of like if you were awakened in a dream, and I told you about the dreamer, and you're like, where's the dreamer? Well, I'm like, look, we're all in the dreamer. Me, you, this whole thing, the whole body, the flesh, the desk, we're in that point of awareness. It's not consciousness within you, you're in consciousness. But few people will ever get to this point. Why? I think it's more psychological. People are intelligent enough. People are interested enough, but there are psychological barriers that are just too difficult to push through. The psychological barrier is more dangerous than the intellectual barrier. Because to see that other side, the other side of the coin, is very taxing psychologically. It's very taxing. Basically, you become like almost non-existent. You become nothing. Now, it's a great to get on. Nobody ever went to the other side and is like, oh, I wasn't. I wish I never came. It's always better to get to the other side. But the threshold to get to the other side is too much psychologically for the vast majority of mankind. It's too much, psychologically speaking. It's too painful. So, look, I have a high respect for Buddhism, but I would love to have a dialogue with a sophisticated, well-educated Buddhist scholar. I would love it. I would be like a kid in a candy store. I'd have so many questions, so many, because I'm sure I'm getting the Western version of Buddhism. But from what I understand right now, and I have a lot of questions about the Four Noble Truth. I have a lot of problems with the Four Noble Truth that I would love for somebody to clarify, because I have a lot of respect for this great religion. Coach, what does Coach Zahabi think about Israel's new magic bullet narrative where Charlie Kirk has adamantium skeleton that bullet entered his left ear and bounced out of the side of his neck on exit? Okay, I haven't heard that theory. That's from Kelvin C, guys. I haven't heard any such theory that the bullet traveled through his skull and came out his throat. That would blow my mind if anybody even suggested that. I really don't think that's how it went down. There's lots of ballistics expert online talking about how it went down. It was most likely a plate that was hit, and it had angled top, and it shot up in his neck. It ricocheted his neck. That's what I saw. That's the report I saw. And it would blow my mind if anybody came up with a different narrative. But I would look into it to see what evidence they have. Coach Francis Ngannou versus 20 professional female MMA fighters. I can't handle that one because it's going to be really bad. That's from T. Namomo. T. Namomo, another brilliant question. I would tell you that Ngannou would crush them. 20? Ngannou would crush them all, man. Dude, the guy hits harder than a sledgehammer. It's just, you have to be insane to even approach him. He would just like bink, bink, bink. It would take less than 20 punches. There's 20 of them. It would take less than 20 punches. Because a lot of them would run in fear and he'd have like to chase them down and like maybe strangle them. I don't know, but it would be a horrible sight. If you want a sophisticated Buddhist talk to Duncan Trussell. That's from Tony R. I would love to. If he's like a very well-versed Buddhist, I would love to. In a respectful, friendly way, of course. Guys, if you have his contact, and if you want to message him that I would be willing to talk to him, put us in contact and I will definitely do it. All right, guys, let's go. Let's end on something funny, but nothing with feminism in it because I don't want to get in trouble. The feminists are strong. Even the Arabs in the West were scared. Even us, they can get to us. Shafiq says, the Dalai Lama enters into a pizza shop and asks, "Can you make me one with everything?" That's awesome. That was a good one. I got to give it to you. That's a funny one. Okay, guys. Give me a fun one, man. Somebody hit a home run. Coach, have you ever read the works of Will Durant? Yes, absolutely. I love Will Durant. He's written some really, really good books. Brilliant person. Brilliant. Historian and philosopher. Brilliant. Craving as suffering is a cool contribution by the Buddhists. That's from Dave. Yeah, because they say you got to kill your cravings. If you want to eliminate suffering, you got to not want anything. That's one of the noble truths. Okay, so all your suffering comes from craving. You want that beautiful girl over there? Buddha doesn't want her. She's all beautiful. She's bad. She's gorgeous. She blows your mind. Buddha says, no thanks. You see that beautiful buffet line over there? With the seafood, the steaks, the chicken, the rice, the breads, the fruit platters, the vegetables. Buddha's like, nah, I don't want. You see, I don't know, those luxury cars over there. Those trips to foreign countries. Immersing yourself in other cultures. Buddha's like, I don't want, no thanks. What else is there? Oh, you see this, massage table. You get a nice sweet. No thanks. Buddha's like, no thanks. I don't need a massage. But let me ask you something. I would love to ask the Buddha. What if you have like this painful stomach ache? And this guy's like, look, I got this medicine. Fix you right up. You take a sip of this, you're done. Pain gone. Well, now the Buddha wants the medicine. So there is some desires, because I think I've asked these questions and found my answers. And they say, no, there are some desires that are good. There are virtuous desires. So wanting that medicine wouldn't be wrong, because you want to alleviate suffering. But wanting that girl, wanting that luxury car, wanting that buffet, wanting that massage, wanting that trip, that's no good. That's the kind of bad evil wants. If you have to remove yourself from that. Guys, I can't help to think that this is a kind of, I hate to say it because I don't want to offend people. Okay, it could be a psyop. Why? Why would you give me a religion where I'm supposed to want nothing? Why? You're gonna get everything. The guy's pushing that religion on me because he's gonna get everything. He's gonna get his piece of the pie and more. He's gonna get my piece of the pie. Look, we're on this earth. I want my woman. I want my car. I want my job. I want my income. I want my fair share of land. I want my piece of the pie. And yes, I'm gonna die and I'm gonna part with it. I'm gonna leave it for my kids and they're gonna live off it. And yeah, I want those things. But then you're trying to give me this new psychology, this new way of thinking where I shouldn't want any of these things. And I should leave all the girls and all the cars and all the monies and for these other guys over here because they're lower on the chain. No, thanks, man. No thanks. That's not a religion for me. All due respect. I say this with utmost respect. I'm teaching you the opposite. Get up, hustle, get your fair piece of the pie, enjoy it thoroughly, be a good person, don't step on the guy next to you, and pass it down to your kids. That's what I'm telling you to do. That's what my religion tells me to do. I feel that's a psyop. What do you mean these rich guys are saying, hey, it's not worth it, man. The girls be in the palace wall, the palace life. You don't want none of that. Don't break the palace walls and come and crush me here. Don't come and kill me at the stake. I'm really the guy suffering. You're the good one. You got nothing. You got nothing. I got everything. And you're the good one. You're going to be in the special place where you're not going to have to worry about disease, suffering, your wife dying, your kids leaving you. Like, you don't have to worry about any of that. Don't worry about it. I'm going to help you out. Here's this place where you can pray and meditate. And you have a little place and leave everything else to me. That's what I feel part of it is. I have to say with all due respect. Because it doesn't make sense to me, a young man or a young woman live like a monk. Doesn't make sense to me. Your whole life is to... Because think about it. If we all went down that path, humanity wouldn't exist. This is the questions I have to for Buddhists. If we were all wise, if we were all woke as Buddha, we would be like, hey man, we're all Jainists basically. Let yourself die. In Jainism, older than Buddhism, it's like, look, life is so important. Don't even eat anything that has life, even a plant. The ultimate virtuous thing to do is let yourself decompose. And there's 8 Jains that ever done it. You know, the Jains, when they walk, they sweep the floor. Why? They might step on a bug. They might step on a microorganism they can't see with their eyes, so they have to sweep. They even wear a mask. They wear a mask because they don't want to breathe in a microorganism. Well, if you got a disease, you shouldn't fight it. You should let the disease eat your body because it's alive. You shouldn't kill any life at any time. Well, that to me is a psyop, man. That's like, oh, I've given up. I'm going to die. Let humanity die. We've seen humanity, the good, the bad, and we're like, let them all go. I find that's crazy. No, we got to fight for humanity. We got to keep it going. We got to go till the wheels fall off. I have a completely 180-degree different mentality. I'm on the other side of the fence. That's why I don't understand that they can accept such a belief. I like Darwinism, a lot of it, not all of it. I like survival reproduction, man. I'm into that. Yeah, survive. I gotta survive. I gotta reproduce. I even want to go higher. I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive and reproduce. I want to survive, thrive. I want to survive, reproduce, and I want to thrive. What's this mentality? Well, lay down and die. What is this mentality? Lay down and die. What is it? I don't believe that the Buddha, because he gave up women, he gave up this, he gave up that he's in somewhere better than his future was better than mine's gonna be. I don't agree. I was built and designed to want a woman, to want my piece of the pie, to want a child, to want to have my own land. I have a hand because I need it to grasp. I have a stomach because I want to eat. Now, you can't go overboard. That I agree. But he's not preaching, don't go overboard. He's preaching, eat a grain of rice a day. Okay, well, that's maybe legendary. Of course, it's exaggerated. He probably ate more than a grain of rice a day, but he says he subsided on a few grains of rice a day, the Buddha. A grains of rice a day. A few grains of rice. That's it. That's all I need, man. That's all I need. Look, high respect for the Buddhist culture and religion and the thinking, and I understand it's very profound, but I do fear, I do have these thoughts, and I like to express them in an open place where people can hit the ball back and we can have a discussion. Because I fear, what if this is, it sounds like a psyop to me. Give up everything, and the rich, of course, will love with the population being Buddhist. Oh, I look, imagine I live in a country of all Buddhists. And they really were Buddhists. They're not just Buddhists by text. Okay, of course, Buddhists get married. They say, oh, I'm too low on the chain. I'm still on lust. Yeah, but let's say I lived in a country with perfect Buddhists. All the men were perfect Buddhists. Man, I'd be like, it's a cakewalk. I got every title and every division. I got every girl and I got every piece of land. I got it all. it's just counterintuitive to my inner core, the most inner fiber of my being. It's counterintuitive. All right, guys, come on. I've been trying to sign off for a while here. Oh my God, it's been 20 minutes. I'm signing off. This is from Mr. Mike Goodwin. Is it dangerous to get chest-to-chest mount without head and arm control? Opponent can kip escape? No? Question mark. Yes, it can be very, very dangerous. I like to wrap the head and spread one arm. So I never spread two arms chest to chest, never, because he can kip and break my leg. All of a sudden, I'm defending a leg lock. Nowadays, I've been doing something called crocodile mount, and I look forward to showing it to you guys. The reason why I called it crocodile mount is because I wanted the dumbest name possible, because I always make fun of my students when they come up with these weird moves they saw on YouTube, and I'm like wrestling with them, and I see them do a weird move that I know I didn't teach them, and I'm like, I call it. I said, that's a YouTube move, and I just love to crush it because I know it's like a fancy move they saw online, and it's not going to work, and I'm just going to crush it, and I just call their junk moves, I just call it. I just like, oh, YouTube move. You try to use it. He saw a move on YouTube, and he came and tried it on me, and I'm just going to punish him for it. Now, of course, I'm on YouTube too. Not all YouTube moves are bad. There's a lot of great black belts out there, but you could tell, like, sometimes, like, there's the fancy move that, like, caught a lot of views, so the students want to check on, try to, it's a fad, right? So I'm like, okay, guys, you guys like fads? Watch this crocodile mount. Now, of course, I hate stupid names like that. I really hate stupid names like that. But I was just kind of making fun of my students, and now it kind of stuck, and I call it the crocodile mount. So, Mike, what I do is, instead of putting my arms like this, I go chest to chest, and I put both my arms on the same side of his body, and I like cross-face him with the back of my arm here. Okay, so let's say I was mounted on you. Okay, let's say I'm mounted on you. I'll put both my hands on the left side of your body, and I'll cross-face you with the left side of my arm, and I'll sprawl with my left leg. Oh, snap. I just messed that all up because I'm looking at myself and I just messed that all up. I'm going to say it again, okay? Let's say I'm mounted on top of you. I would put my two arms on one side of your body. I would cross face you with my left. And I would sprawl really hard with my left leg also. So then they can't kip. It's really difficult to kip because as soon as they kip, I cross my legs into a triangle and I lock their thighs. Because I'm already tilted. So it's weird. It's a weird mount. It's actually really aggressive. It's super strong. And I wish I named it something else before I called it crocodile mount. And it would have been much more probably sophisticated of a name. Because if John hears I called something crocodile mount, he's gonna hate on me for sure. But you know what? I might do a little video on it just to give you guys a little taste. But Mike, you're right. Never go chest to chest, two hands out. I think it's a recipe for disaster. They could also do backdoor escape. And they're going to end up in your legs and on top of you. So don't do that. I like to wrap the head and sprawl one arm while shifting my weight to the arm that I have based out. I have that in Mount Made Easy. Check it out. It's a really good video. But now I will hopefully make a crocodile mount video and let you guys experiment with it and see if you guys enjoy it. Coach, there is staph in my gym and I keep getting it. It's affecting my training. How do I prevent it? Shower straight after. That's from Emmanuel. Emmanuel, I have long sleeve shirts, long pants, and now I've been encouraging everybody to get the pants. I've been doing actually a sale on pants just to make sure everybody gets it. It's crazy. Pants are like $50, $60. I'm like, guys, I'm giving you $20. Stretch. I want everybody covering. So I'm trying to get the whole gym covered from head to toe. We mop before practice, after practice. We have AC now for the first time, and TriStar Gym has AC heating units, brand new heating units. We've spent a fortune on them. Why? Because we want to remove all humidity, and of course the gym has to be warm. We had a problem last year with the heater, so now we have a new heater, AC, removing humidity. We added these new units that remove humidity. So your coaches have to remove humidity. Humidity is not good. It allows things to incubate. So the gym has to be dry. Quality of air has to be dry. Fresh air has to be coming in. Everybody has to be covered. Mops have to be, the mats have to be mopped. And the more you cover, the safer you are. And of course, shower after practice immediately. Coach, what should an athlete with separated shoulder do? Can he compete? He needs to do surgery. Usually surgery is not necessary for non-athletes. That's from SMP. Every injury is different, but if you had a separated shoulder, like, get the surgery. It's 6 weeks. You're off for 6 weeks. So 6 weeks is not the worst thing in the world. So do the surgery, then do the rehab and get back in the game. But I wouldn't operate with a separated shoulder. You're going to make it worse. Coach, can you give a shout out to my friend Ben? I'm not going to say it because I can obviously see it's a troll. You got to try to be a little wiser and a little smarter, Mr. Bink. Mr. Bink, you didn't get me this time. I know I'm a cheap target, but this time you didn't get me, sir. I'm a Buddhist, and Buddha doesn't tell you to do. That's just what he did. He just wants you to kill your ego and show compassion so you don't suffer. That's from Aspu. But you're supposed to be an aesthetic, right? Thank you for your comment, by the way. I really appreciate it. The monks only eat once a day, right? So they're supposed to eat once a day. They go out in the world. They have a bowl. So they have 7 items. A monk has 7 items. A bowl, a robe, a thread with a needle, like a few. I think they have a razor, right, to cut their hair. So they have a few items. Only allowed these 7 items. And then they wake up in the morning, they take their bowl, and they go eat whatever they can beg. So whatever's put in their bowl, that's what they're eating. Okay, so they're supposed to eat once a day. It's a limited diet. So you're on the 7-fold path, the 8th-fold path, you're not supposed to go to a buffet and eat up and have luxury foods. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, if you're a monk, if you're trying to get to nirvana, you ain't doing it at the buffet. You ain't doing it eating at In-N-Out Burger. It's not working. That's not going. That's not going to be. If you're a monk, you have to meditate. You have to have good karma. You have to not overeat. You can't indulge. This is what Buddhism's about. You're not supposed to indulge. Now, do they flex on the rule? Do they go easy on the rules? Yeah, of course they go easier on the rules. I'm sure the Dalai Lama probably has dinner sometimes. He's fed up with fasting. I'm sure they don't follow all the rules, okay? But I'm telling you that you're supposed to be an aesthetic when you're reading the Buddha. It's all about letting go of the dunya, letting go of the world, not wanting the world. You don't need the world. The world is harmful. Every benefit comes with more negative. In the end, you want to disappear. You want to break the wheel of samsara, pain and suffering. Pain leads to, the relief of pain gives you pleasure, and then there's a wheel. You go back to pain. So you're hungry, then you eat, you feel good, then you're hungry again. You're hungry, then you eat, you feel good, then you're hungry again. Being hungry is painful. Then you eat, and you relieve the suffering of hunger, so then you feel good for a small amount of time. But if I have no appetite, if I barely ever eat, I only eat once a day and I eat very little, and I don't think about food, well, I'm not suffering. I'm not hungry. I'm just eating to sustain my life. That's the whole point. Is he saying you're going to get addicted to luxury foods? Like, I like to cook a nice steak. Well, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be craving a steak. I'm going to go buy a steak. I want a steak. He's like, no, man, you shouldn't eat steak. Don't eat steak. That's a luxury item. Eat the most basic food. So I think you're doing Buddhism a disservice here, because the Buddha wouldn't be like, it's okay, man. Go to In-N-Out Burger and treat yourself. Just be a good person. That's not what he's saying. You got to live an ascetic life, the minimum possible. You're only allowed 7 items. You're only allowed a small portion of food. The rest of your day is meditation. You're not allowed to be with a woman. You're not supposed to have kids. If you want to break out into nirvana, if you want to break out of samsara and reach nirvana, you cannot have a wife. You cannot have children. The Buddha abandoned his wife and children. Don't forget that. He was married, had kids. He abandoned them. He's like, that's dunya. I don't want dunya. I don't want anything worldly. Why Romero and Nickel can take down easy like Khamzat? Why can't Yoel Romero and Bo Nickel get takedowns as easy as Khamzat? That's a really good question, Mike. Look, Bo Nickel is a Penn State product. Penn State is like the best wrestling school in the country, in America. Romero was one of the top wrestlers of his generation. And you're right, they can't get the fight to the ground like Khamzat. Why? I think Bo Nickel, he's a little bit green in MMA. He's going to need more time. And, of course, he's going to be a superstar. I really have faith in him. I think he's going to do well. Romero, I think his understanding of ground game was very minimal. So he can get guys to the ground, but he couldn't keep them there, which is strange because he's a wrestler. But he was not good parterre. Like in wrestling, they have parterre on the ground. That was his weakness. He brought that weakness into MMA. He never remedied it. So he would get guys down and realize, hey, this is just making me tired because I can't hold them there. They just get up. He was never good at parterre, the part where you hold the guy down on the ground. He was great at takedowns. He had a weakness. Some guys are really good takedowns. Some guys are really good parterre. Some guys are good at both. Okay, yes. But some are really, really weak at parterre. I think that hurt his career. He could have been much more successful MMA fighter. So for Bo Nickel, I think it's experience. For Yoel Romero, I think it's parterre. Because if you look at Khamzat, when he gets you on the ground, man, he's a beast. He's a beast. All right, guys, let's end it off. I know I'm trying to sign off here for, God, I'm not even gonna say it's been too long. Coach is one of the few experts that still believes in Bo. That's from NBA. NBA, I still believe in Bo. I think he can do it. He's gonna turn things around. Coach, I'm a Muslim and my woman is vegetarian and doesn't like when I eat meat in front of her. She believes it's the same as eating pork in front of me. What do you think? That's from Halal. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Well, listen, if she's not Muslim, she can eat pork. It's none of your business. Okay, now, if you're going to marry this... Oh, did you say she's your woman? And my woman, yeah. Well, with all due respect, I don't want to sound like a wet blanket here, but I think you should consider parting ways. Like, don't waste your time with this relationship because it's going to eat up other time that you can have with someone else because you're probably going to part ways in the future. She's going to want to... Well, actually, you're saying she's vegetarian. She doesn't eat pork, but you're thinking like she's... Look, here's the thing, okay? For two people to laugh, maybe she's not somebody you're serious about, okay? But if you are serious with a person, you have to be careful because if you don't have something between you two that's a core, it connects you at the core, you're probably going to drift away from apart in the future. I don't know how serious you are about this girl, okay? But for two people to make it in the world together as a couple, especially in our day and age, you have to have something you have to have core values that are very similar. Now, I don't want to throw the towel in. I don't know the girl. I'm just saying, like, try to remedy these situations through dialogue. If you can't, consider pulling the ripcord, okay? Don't take too long. Why? Because if you don't have similar core values, these little problems are going to become huge in the future. She's going to resent you for eating meat. You're going to resent her for stopping you from eating meat. Eating meat could be a major concern because I'll be honest with you, like, personally, I would never go vegetarian for any woman. I would compromise maybe and reduce my portions of meat for a certain period of time. I'd say, look, I'll reduce to 1 serving of meat per day. Something. But if she wants you at 0 meat, I don't think you're going to be able to give off steak for the rest of your life. Like, if she's that adamant about it, if that's a core tenet of her being, it's not going to work, dude. It's not going to work. I'm sorry to say, but it's not going to work. There's 4 wives for a reason, brother. That's from Nomadic Layman. Alhamdulillah. No Romero slander, coach. Rainbow. I love Romero. I'm a big fan of his, but he wasn't the best on the ground. You got to be honest with yourselves. Is there any scholarship opportunities to live and train at TriStar? That's from the Journey. It's crazy you say that. I just now making a deal with Hayabusa. Hayabusa is going to be giving scholarships to TriStar Gym. They're going to be TriStar's new official sponsor in the near future. We're working out a deal where they're going to sponsor guys to come and train with me at the gym, and we're going to put them through the paces, and they're going to be sponsored by Hayabusa. So yes, actually I would reach out to Hayabusa and try to sign up to be the first. Coach, I'm an Indian guy and want to fight like Ilya. I have same attributes like him, but no power. But not power. Well, you forgot the number one most important attribute Ilya Taporia has. I don't see you being the next Ilya Taporia if you have no power. To be honest, it's crazy how Coach made a Lebanese Muslim and a French Canadian work. Coach is the sole anomaly. That's from Nomadic Layman. Layman is trying to say, look, Coach, you're a Muslim from Lebanon. I was born here. And you married a French Quebecois girl, and it worked, and you had kids, and you didn't get divorced, and you're not a statistic. Is that statistically significant? Yes. It is very rare that a French and Muslim get married together and make it in the long run. It is very rare. Guys, with all disclosure, my wife converted to Islam many years ago. Actually, I would say 2 years into our marriage. So when I married her, she was Christian. Her family was Christian. After a while, in her own time, she became Muslim. So it made even more of a connection at the core. It was much easier, much more. But even then, we were still very compatible before. Now, how did the marriage survive? Well, I'll tell you something. I studied a lot. Of course, I've studied sociology. I studied philosophy. I did a lot of thinking. I read the roadmap, what happens in people throughout their life. I studied it very carefully. And I'm like, I don't want to fall in these traps because these traps seem to set people back in life. So a lot of forethinking, seeing the problem far away. I'm headed to that bridge. Well, let me get prepared. And as the bridges came, I would pass one over the other and one over the other. And then the bridges got easier and easier for me to pass. But I'll be honest with you guys. I'm being strictly honest. I've seen a lot of my friends run into a brick wall. And I'm like, hey, didn't you know these brick walls? That happens at this stage. You didn't, I never heard of it. Never heard of it. Well, you didn't really foresee. You didn't think. You didn't do much thinking. I'm a thinker. I like to sit back and I like to think. I like to sit in a quiet room. I like to think about my life. I like to see, like, what's the next step I'm going to do? What should I go? What makes sense? And of course, I don't see the future, but I see, okay, this is a human life. You know, he goes through young adulthood, okay, teenage years, adulthood. People spend their 20s people who are successful really worked hard in their 20s. Like, I looked at it. I'm like, studied people's lives, read biographies, and I thought, I've seen a lot of guys make mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is they marry the wrong girl. I married a very special, unique girl, but statistically speaking, two people from very different cultures getting married can be very difficult. Very difficult. Why? Yeah, you don't speak each other's language, you know. Now, I had a friend growing up, and he was always telling me, because he was Muslim, Lebanese, from Beirut. His family hails from Beirut. So he's like, I'm only going to marry a girl who's Muslim, Lebanese, and from Beirut. I'm like, what's Beirut have to do with it? Why does she have to be Lebanese? Like, I get Muslim, you can have core tenets that you see eye to eye on. But he's like, no, because I want the marriage to be successful. She has to be even from Beirut. She has to come from his own hometown. I'm like, that's crazy. That's insane. You're all the way here in Canada. Guys, I'll tell you, not a word of a lie. He married a Muslim Lebanese girl from Beirut. And I grew up with this guy. He was always telling me he was going to marry a Muslim Lebanese from Beirut. His parents had him that in his head. And yeah, of course, he had women go in and out of his life, and it didn't work out. And he didn't care because he knew she wasn't Muslim Lebanese and from Beirut. So she's not the one. He ended up marrying a Muslim Lebanese girl from Beirut. And he has, alhamdulillah, many children. And he's super happy and super functional. And I won't say it's not the easier path for him. I mean, it makes sense. They have the whole lives are the same. Like, not the same, but their lives are very, they understand one another. Where for sure in my marriage, I had culture clashes. Certain things that are, you know, alien to me or alien to her or weird. And we had to kind of make a compromise. And me, I'm very good with compromise, and so is my wife. So it was kind of easy because we're both very flexible people. But it can create challenges. It's a statistical anomaly. Be honest. That's me being honest. Okay. All right, guys. We have more super chats. Oh, no. It's Ahmed Jassim. No message. Thank you very much. You're new member. Oh, 2 new members. Welcome, Ahmed Jassim. And who else is the second member? Saga C. New member. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you for becoming members. Coach, what do you think about Pereira? Thel? What the hell is Thel? What do I think about Pereira? I'm picking Pereira for this one, but not by much. Love will always be political. That's true. That's a man who understands. Coach, I want to train with you. I don't have much money, but I have skills of being a button masher, programmer. Is there any way I can train with you and pay you with programming / computer work? That's from Epic Venge. Epic Venge, come to TriStar Gym. Tell me you're a button pusher, and I'll have my manager put you through the paces. Maybe you're a really good button pusher. Maybe it's a possibility. Come to the TriStar Gym. Ask for Sam. Tell him you got skills, and you want to work for us. Coach, favorite sub to try on my next jiu-jitsu class? That's from the man from Nepal. I want you to hit a Woj lock and make me happy. Okay? Hit a Woj lock for the old coach. If you don't know what a Woj lock is, please look it up. Hassan Mian, of course we do. We have a back room just for that. Okay, so we do. Thank you for us for another insightful podcast. That's from Jeremy. Jeremy, you're the man. You're a gentleman and scholar. I appreciate you. Coach, would you ever coach another big UFC fighter if they approach you? That's from NBA. Of course I do. I coach many good fighters now. My brother is ranked number 9, Ayman Zahabi. He's fighting October 18th, guys. Check it out. He's ranked number 9 in the world. I train Arnold Allen. He's number 6. I train Rob Font also. I think he's number 10 or 11 now. I train a whole host of fighters. Okay, Nasrat Haksparat. He's on a 5-fight win streak. Mandel Nalo just signed. He just won the contender. We have a lot of talent coming in and out of the gym. Of course, COVID derailed TriStar Gym for a little bit, but we're back onto rebuilding. We were out for 2 years. Everybody went to Florida. Everybody went to Vegas. Everybody went back to Europe. And we're rebuilding. Believe me, my friends, we are rebuilding. We are training hard around the clock. We have Manon Fario also. She's also fighting. She's also fighting October 18th. She's training with us. She fought for a world title in UFC. She's, I think, ranked number 1 now, ranked number 2. I think she's number 1. So we have a whole host of UFC fighters still at TriStar Gym. Do you think your brother will become champ? He has a great style. That's from Professor G. Well, I could tell you, inshallah, God willing. Coach, what is the key to discipline? That's from Spartek. Never break your routine. Get on a routine and don't break it. Sit down, design a routine, and don't break it. Do it every day till it becomes clockwork. And if you have to break your routine, it's got to be difficult. Like if somebody wants me to change my schedule, man, it's not easy. I tell them, no, I can't have this. And I learned that from George and John Denahar. They're scheduled people. John Denahar and George St. Pierre, they schedule their lives, and trying to get them to change their schedule is like pulling teeth. And I'll tell you something, that's a huge part of their success. And I've been following that for a long time, and it's very, very impactful to one's life. Like I know where I am on, like sometimes people want to meet with me. I'm like, hey, meet me on this day at this time at this place, because I know I'm going to be there. I'm not going to, like everyone wants to talk to me. I know I'm at this place on this day at this time. So just show up there. I can't, even if I forget, I'm going to bump into you. I know I'm there. I don't change my schedule unless it's something absolutely ridiculously important. I can't, my schedule is so important to me. And I have some room in my schedule for free time. Like I have like a Sunday evening, a Saturday evening. I have little things that I have pockets. But I don't change the blocks that I've dedicated to. I don't change them. $6 a.m. 3 times a week is extremely hard after Fajr. I'm just dead. That's from the nomadic layman. 6 a.m. 3 times a week. I don't understand what you mean. Do you mean you train after Fajr? Or you're having trouble waking up for Fajr? Talk to your mufti. Tell him about your work schedule, your workload, etc. And ask what he thinks. All right, guys. You're not going to let me sign off. Nobody's giving me anything funny. I'm going to have to end this on a boring one. Come on, guys. Somebody hit me a home run. Give me something funny. Come on, guys. A super chat jumps in. Coach, I've been training BJJ for around a year. I have an issue where I'm rolling I'm getting dominated positionally, but not getting tap any tips. Positional training is number one. Forget submissions. You're just being tough. Who cares about that? Why are you getting dominated? Because your guard is getting passed. Become an expert at guard retention. Your guard retention is weak. Your guard passing is weak. You're getting swept. Okay, so you really got to focus on guard retention, and guards attacking. Focus on the guard. Do 80% of your training on guard. Then 20% submission escapes, submission attempts, takedowns, etc. Do a lot of guard training. That's why you're getting put in bad positions, because people are taking your back because they're passing your guard. Okay, so your guard is too weak. Guys, give me something funny, man. Come on. Okay, here we go, guys. HA said it. He said, look. Super chat jumps in. If you were stranded on an island, what 3 items would you absolutely have to have with you and why? That's from Little Roy. Little Roy, you saved the day. All right, thank you. Guys, I love survival shows. The reality survival shows, I love them. Okay, so you're asking me, if you were stranded on an island, what 3 items would you absolutely have to have and why? That's a brilliant question. Number 1, I would want fire. So I'd need a flint. Number 2, I'd want a machete so I can build a shelter. And number 3, I would want a pot so I can boil water and drink water. Those are the first 3 most important things. Shelter, water, and fire. Okay? They're 3 equally important. So they say which one's the most important? Equal, depending on the situation. But those are 3 most important things. Food, you could take time. You can last 3 weeks, 4 weeks without food. You can't last more than 2 or 3 days without water in a hot environment. So fire, water, and of course you can freeze in hypothermia. At night, it gets cold, you die. So I'd want a machete. I'd want, what did I say? A dipper? What do you call those things? Chaudière, a pot. And I would want a flint to create fire. Guys, I love those reality shows where they go in the woods and they're out there in the jungle and they got to survive. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling how tough it is. Guys, with that said, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you.